Testicle! Tonight it's fight night over!
It's Sunday, everything is calm. I'm feeling very relaxed. It's going to be a nice, chill day.
Chill day, my left testicle! Tonight it's fight night over at Gory! Big movie! Oh yeah! Heck, we may even see that in Knightmare, who is a horror addict! Yeah! We there are bitch square, you maggots! Oh, I'm gonna take a shit.
That wasn't good. Okay, here we go.
Wolves are very sensitive hearing.
They are, but luckily we don't have any wolves here. We just got witches and slashers. My chair is super little.
Super little.
Merry meet weirdos. I'm Gory B Movie, and tonight is Sunday. That means it's fight night. So get ready, get your drink, because we have werewolves fighting tonight. The fur will fly. We got some special beer. We got my American Werewolf in London shirt.
I'm wearing my kitty werewolf shirt.
We are ready for this. Let us know what awesome shirts you're wearing. Hopefully something werewolfy. Yeah. So we have had a bit of a hiatus because it was LOLZ's birthday and we were in California. But I think we're ready. I think we're ready tonight. We did our research.
I think their jaws have been like slobbering for a new fight. So
let's see who we have in the Gory hole today. What weirdos do we have in the Gory hole? We got Outside the Nine, Mr. Flickster, Now It's Dark, Rich from the Movie Massacre Show. Awesome show there, guys. Definitely subscribe. That is the person who did the intro to this awesome stream. Horror Addicts. I hear the guy on there is super sexy. Elisa Proctor, nice to see you. That stop motion guy, what up? Have Cheetah Wolf you, hashtag Golden Vampire. Torchbearer, nice to see you. My mother, Mommy B Movie, in the Gory hole. Fairpoint Station, Echo Saro. Really nice to see all you guys here. And if you're lurking, you know, say hello. You know?
Don't be a stranger. We can
Exactly.
sniff you out.
We're all weirdos here, so you're in good company. So tonight, let's just jump into it because we have a pretty intense battle tonight. So we should just jump right into it. What we do here, if you are new to this show, the first round goes a little bit slower. We're going to tell you who is fighting in each fight. We're going to go through their strengths and their weaknesses, and then we're going to pass it off to you with a poll in the chat. You vote for who you think the winner is, and the winner goes on to round 2. Then there's a round 3, and then there is the winner of the card. The winner who will go on to the ultimate showdown. Ow! Ow! Hey, Brian Miller! Brian Miller is lurking. I knew it. I could see you in there. Alrighty.
Now, we're not sponsored by Ellison, but they have this cool Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout, which we're drinking tonight. And they just signed a deal to do a Chucky beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I saw that on Twitter.
So, cool. I mean, I don't even know if I said their name right.
Let's see if we can put a straw into this. Hey.
There you go.
And unfortunately, we do not have Becky with us tonight. She is very sick, and her family is very sick. So we are hoping they get better. We will cast the sickness from them with some sage. Danny, do the magical chant. Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. Great, now you ruined it. Now you ruined it. Hopefully everyone at home...
it right. Maybe not every little syllable, but...
Hopefully everybody at home did it right, because, you know, our friend's health is in the balance here.
I do want to give them a werewolf belly stare.
Yes! Raise your shirt, point your belly button to the sky, and send all those healing vibes to our buddy Becky. I also see Heart Collector Fiend is here. Ooh, very nice, very nice.
Especially if you're like in True Blood, then show off them abs.
Abs. There are going to be abs tonight, guys. So many abs. So I'm excited about this first one. I call it the Battle of 1981.
Oh, yeah.
Both of these amazing werewolf movies came out
Head to
in
head.
1981. That is American Werewolf in London. I think it's the best one of all time as far as werewolf movies go. And The Howling.
Underrated gem, but I can understand it'll probably always be second fiddle to American Werewolf in London.
A lot of people like The Howling more. They both have incredible effects. They both raised the bar. Personally, I'm an American Werewolf girl, but I love them both.
It was a great year to be a werewolf.
It really was. It was a great year to be a werewolf. So let's get started with our very first werewolf. Ooh, looking wolfy there. So for these ones, I went the extra mile, guys. I went the extra mile. And I've got pictures of them when they're not a werewolf, when they are a werewolf. So this is David Kessler. He is a nice American Jewish boy who is on holiday in the UK, in London, as a matter of fact. When he is backpacking through the moors, he gets attacked by a werewolf, he's bitten, and he is cursed to become one himself. So David is unique in that when he kills people, they haunt him, and they basically just tell him to kill himself repeatedly, because that's the only way they're going to be at rest is when he is dead. There's no cure for being a werewolf except for killing the werewolf. So this is David as a werewolf. He is massive. He is massive. He got a body like that hamster I had back when I was like a kid, dude.
He's like big chunk wolf.
He's a chunky machunker but you know
saw him
that
at Hollywood Horror Nights.
that is all muscle right there. That is a whole lot of muscle. Ooh. Some pretty amazing Rick Baker effects. One of the scariest looking werewolves of all time. I mean, this thing is just, it weighs tons. It weighs massive tons. Oh, yeah. And we cannot blame David for anything this wolf does, because David has zero memory or control as a wolf. He unfortunately cannot be, to blame for any of it. It's not his fault. He is just cursed. But this werewolf does some damage.
You can bite a head off like that.
It attacks a movie theater. It rampages Piccadilly Circus, which is just like downtown London. And it survives a multi-vehicle collision. Ultimately, though, it is killed by normal means, no silver bullets needed, as it is gunned down by the police.
Not without taking a few of them first. I think a head rolls just from one chomp. Yeah, he can chomp your head right off if he gets your neck.
Chompity chomps?
Those are big-ass fangs on that werewolf. We saw him at Hollywood Horror Nights. He was haunting
statue.
Yeah, he was haunting right outside the bathroom area.
All right, let's see what everyone has to say. I am the Ice Lord. Says it's going to be really hard to choose. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. We're going to introduce our opponent here. The Dr. Pepper spokesman extraordinaire. Maybe that's why I like him so much, because you guys know I love my Dr. Pepper. I vote Wes Werewolf. Probably not in that accent. I'm more of an American Werewolf fan than a Howling. Me too.
Same here. But I like them both. I think they're both great.
I would thoroughly enjoy being a werewolf, I think. I think if I had control over it, I would. Outside the Nine, I was an American Werewolf fan. No, Mummy, he is Jewish. That's why he has the nightmare about the Nazi goblin guys killing his family.
I don't know. I don't know if honestly he's straight up haunted, or if he just has that survivor guilt that some people get, because his friend was killed by the werewolf that turned him. And maybe it was just a metaphor.
What are you talking about?
He was haunted by the ghost. So
yeah, but we were responding to him being Jewish.
I know, I'm just talking about that too.
Okay. Well, that wasn't a very good segue.
You're right, it wasn't.
Oh, my nose. Anyway, what I was saying is, yeah, David's Jewish. He has a nightmare about his family being killed by these, like, goblin Nazi people. So, yeah, Jewish.
Afraid of Nazis.
And he's circumcised, so that's nice, too. What time is it? Time to brawl, baby. Hey, Lee the Nerd. Nice to see you here. I saw you over on Craven, so nice of you to visit me here in my humble abode. All right, let's see who our opponent is. Do you have anything to say about David before we move on?
He spends a lot of time naked.
Fuck yeah.
In public.
You're welcome, world. He stole a little boy's balloons.
Yeah.
All right, let's see who our opponent is. We have... Yeah, so I got most of the research done, except for Eddie. So, sorry about that. Anyway...
I'm not very fast at it. She had me do a couple of them.
Anyway, all the rest of them I got done. So this one we're going to have to play from memory. So Eddie he's scary as a human. He's calling this reporter. He is really, really creepy. He's got massive serial killer vibes. He lives in this like commune of other werewolves and they kind of lure people out there. Mm-hmm. They're super duper creepy.
I'd say some strengths here is that he is naturally more of a killer than David. Like, he really, like you said, they lure people in. They seem to be a little bit more in control of their transformations and kind of what they do as wolves. Yeah, they're super, like, hungry and probably will go after flesh more than anything once they're in wolf form, but they still have kind of a plan. So, there's that. And he's also bipedal. He stands up. He's a lot taller than David.
He stands up on two legs, but he's also a lot thinner, and I think he weighs a lot less than David. Yes. But before we start comparing them, let's finish talking about Eddie. This is Eddie as a human. Already a scary dude. Mm-hmm. This is Eddie as a werewolf. Pretty scary guy, big guy. I can't remember. This one we didn't do our research on. They're not immune or vulnerable to silver and stuff, are they? I can't remember.
Marsupials in some of the sequels. It's kind of hard to tell. I can't remember exactly. There's also a remake.
Let's look it up. Let's do Eddie. I can't pronounce it. All right, so we're gonna have to look it up. We're gonna research with you. We're researching live, guys. The only one we have to do this for. The rest of them we did get it done. So he was a serial killer who stalked the streets of Los Angeles in the early 80s, back when I was found beneath my gooseberry bush. Right. He's a mega creep. Yep. Cool special effects. So yeah, he is vulnerable to silver, which is different than David.
That's why he has that bullet wound in his head.
But it also means he's got more accelerated healing and such too. Yeah. His body and face were hideously burned from acid, but otherwise he's still healthy. Chris shot him in the throat with a rifle, and the silver bullet ended his life once and for all. So he was ultimately killed with a silver bullet. All right.
Does seem like he can suffer damage that isn't silver.
Oh, and he's a sexual predator too. What a creep. What a creep. So unfortunately, sometimes nice guys don't win. And this guy is going to be a lot more ruthless than David, I think.
Yeah, especially in human form. He would definitely have the edge. Though I know enough from the Howling that they can kill each other. Like, werewolves can kill werewolves. They don't need silver to kill each other.
This is true.
They can rip each other's heads off and other things. And I've seen them in the Howling.
We didn't check and see what the chat had to say about Eddie. Yeah, Mommy, I know the doctor says it, but he has nightmares about Nazis. You know who has nightmares about Nazis? Jewish people. Right.
I'm sure a lot of people have.
They're like goblin Nazis.
They're zombie
and
demon Nazis, yeah.
The creepy thing is there is an American Werewolf porno. Don't ask me how I know.
Oh, we watched
and it's actually a really high production value, like really high. We were watching, we're like, oh, this is actually really like a really good copy of it. It doesn't actually become a porn until that scene.
Yeah, there's the weird Nazi dreams. And then
where the demonic Nazi people, then they start boning him.
Yeah, they take off their clothes and then they're just apparently hot chicks from the neck down. They still have the masks on though and the weird zombie demon Nazi faces. And they start boning on his dead family.
It was gross. It was really gross. But really nice production value. Really nice. It is indeed. Though it's kind of gone back because the generation after like my generation, like a lot of my son's kids my son's age, are not. So, but then, I don't have a dog, so I'm not like a dog expert. Well, I kind of am a dog expert.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, not a mangled dog expert like Felicity.
No,
but you are the
dongstress.
Yeah, so.
Old dude werewolf. We got an old dude werewolf
don't
coming
worry.
up.
Late phases will be talked
We
about
got
later.
you one. My vote goes to the Howling, says Brian Miller. I prefer rescues over fancy dogs. I like that. Oh no, poor Eddie being left out. Lee, don't you worry. We got him. But I'm a werewolf. My nickname is Eddie Monster. Oh, I see what you did there. Gotta vote for who will win. Eddie, not the movie I like better. Exactly. It's all down to who you think he would win, not which movie you like better. Yes, there is a porno. So check it. I think it's even called, God, I can't remember what it's called. Just look up An American Wolf in London, the porn. You'll find it. There can't be that many of them. Yeah. Okay, so Danny, hit me with it.
In human form, I'd definitely give it to Eddie. He's more ruthless, and he's just a dark, nasty individual. But I do think that he would lose this fight. Even though he is taller and standing on 2 feet and more of a natural killer, it doesn't matter because when David's in wolf form, he doesn't remember any of it. And like I said, he could take off a head with one bite. Because if you look at their teeth and their jaws, he has a much more powerful bite force. Like, it would probably rival some of the, probably even more than a lot of the animals we have alive today. Maybe like a hippopotamus would have a higher bite force. But other than that, he has a fucking amazing bite force. And I know the Howling werewolves can be killed by other werewolves. I think David actually would have it.
Here's what I'm going to say, and I'm putting the poll in the chat there so you guys can start voting. My thought is Eddie has more immunities and accelerated healing than David does. That's why it takes like silver and stuff, I think, to kill him. David did survive a massive collision, but he wasn't really hit too badly by any of those vehicles. However, Eddie survived having acid poured on him. I don't know how David fared. I don't know. I do think he might be a little bit more able to heal. I don't think he is as strong though. I think that the sheer mass of tons of weight in David is going to be really hard for him. He is also a lot more ruthless. The other thing too, he is aware of what he's doing as a wolf. David has no fucking clue.
But it does not stop him from hesitating to kill people.
It doesn't. And David would, as a werewolf, he would fight to protect himself. Definitely if something was attacking him. And I imagine just like any other animal, but it's not going to be like, like a dog. Like dogs aren't evil. They attack if they're attacked. But they're not more evil. Than a dog.
I'd say David is as a
But
werewolf.
Eddie is a straight up serial killer in both forms. And I think he is more conniving. He's more evil, and I think he's got a little bit more of an ability to heal.
A little bit, but I don't think it's gonna matter when David takes his head off. I think he could.
You think he's gonna take his head off?
He has a massive amount of a bite force, like I'm saying. That is where the weight all goes, is in that jaw. Look at their teeth and their jaws. He's taken a head off like that. Eddie did not bite people's heads right off, like with one chomp.
I see. Let's see. Ultimately, they are also both killed. Yeah. One was shot in the neck with a silver bullet. And the other was killed by regular bullets by the police. Regular bullets would not have killed Eddie.
No. But, like I said, if it came down to just a gunfight, I would think Eddie would win. But he doesn't shoot people when he's in a werewolf.
All right. I'm going to check in with the chat, and then I'm going to give you my opinion. The Steve McQueen of Werewolves. Hey, Zombie Toon, what's up? Zombie Toon just gave me an awesome new logo that I commissioned. Great channel on all movies. Really check her out because she is just a sweetheart. Outside the Nine says American Werewolf is bigger and stronger. That is my vote. Yeah. David is like Samson from the Bible. His foreskin was clipped. He loses his power. Eddie being uncircumcised has the advantage. That is my favorite argument so far. I love this. David is more ferocious as Nicholas Vincent. Eddie has killer instinct and drive. David doesn't want to be a werewolf, makes him weaker. I don't know if he's necessarily weaker, but I do think that Eddie has the edge in being aware of what he's doing and just being a bastard.
I think he's physically stronger, but yeah, he has, as a human, has no killer instinct.
Here is my brother Zigma, who has a brand new Mach-E Mustang channel. So if you are interested in cars, definitely check that out. Which one has fleas asking for the cheetah? We are keeping the cheetah far away from both of these guys. All right? The cheetah is precious and must be protected at all costs. Were cheetah, yeah. No street but queen of the werewolves. You know, there are a lot of other werewolves and stuff, and I've actually thought about this. When we're done with this round of Fight Night, I think we're going to go back to Horror Hangout for a bit, have some discussions with you guys, but there'll be a season 2, and that one, we're going to definitely get some of the ones we've missed.
Yeah.
And bring back some favorites for some dream matchups.
Like we could have Ozzy Osbourne as a werewolf from Bark at the Moon versus Michael Jackson's from Thriller.
He's like a werecat.
I'd still like to see him fight in the dream fight, though.
All right, well, there's a day. Yeah, it was frozen. Hopefully it's all working good now. Really good to see you, Dino. Dino is an old friend of ours. We go way back with Dino. Awesome guy. Yeah, technical issues. Hopefully, I think we're still live. I think our internet's been kind of spotty just because there's a lot of fires where we live right now. So things are a bit dodgy, but hopefully everything's good. I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand. That's my dog's favorite song. Ahoo! Werewolves in London. All right, it is all good now. Yeah, of course, Zombie Tune. Boglins are crazy. Yeah, there's a boglin right behind you. I actually found out my boglin glows in the dark, and it's the coolest thing ever. I'm so excited. David is fluffy. Mother, you are coming up with some great arguments here, and that is why we love having you in the Gory Hole. David has no control, but Eddie enjoys the evil he does. All right, Dan, it's time for us to vote. What are you voting?
I'm going with David. That bite force is just going to be unbeatable. Plus, all that thick fur, David's claws and teeth aren't going to penetrate through that as well. Eddie's as well.
I love David. You know that is my favorite of the two movies, but I have to say that in a fight, I think David has the brawn, but I think the wherewithal that Eddie has is going to be an edge. I also think Eddie is got some better healing, so I'm voting for Eddie.
Yeah, that's how I go, though. Like, a lion lost to a tiger in, like, a death match because they said that tiger mane, or the lion mane, keeps the tiger from being able to get to the throat. He is thick neck, thick furred, way bigger claws, way bigger teeth, and way more way more muscle.
I also think it might be hard for Eddie to maneuver around him just because this is a creature that's on all fours.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like Eddie's got the edge here. I think it's close though. I think it really could go either way.
Now, I mean, it depends on how the battle takes place. If they're taking place in human form, then Eddie's definitely going to win. He is a killer, where David has no killing instinct. But this is a werewolf battle.
All of our battles are taking place in werewolf form.
Well, there you go.
On the full
I'm
moon.
giving it to David then.
All right, so it is pretty close. I'm going to check in with the chat one more time. By the time I'm done checking these last 5 comments, I am going to end the poll. So get your votes in now.
Hi, Ariel.
Hey, Ariel. Really good to see you, buddy. Sci-Fi's 30th anniversary. Danny, which sci-fi movie was your favorite? I think I like Leprechaun Returns. And I really liked the Slumber Party Massacre remake.
I liked how Sharknado taught me that a sci-fi movie could be good. Like, for that part. If we're just going by what's comes from sci-fi, I'm gonna go with the Chucky series. It's the best thing that's ever come from sci-fi.
Technically, though, isn't that from no, it is on sci-fi. That's right. We see it on Peacock. You're right. You're right. Happy Sunday, Katie. Eddie is a lower weight class, and Eddie has brains to match his bronze. Eddie would outsmart him, guys. It is so close, 54-46. But the winner is David. David is going to advance to the next round.
It's like a T-Rex versus a slightly smarter Allosaurus. T-Rex just wins that bite force.
Well, in this case, he absolutely did win. All right, and now we don't have to worry anymore about not having research because we did everything else. But, we did some live research on that one. It wasn't bad.
Eddie got done dirty.
Yeah, but, he still did very well. It didn't hurt his votes at all.
It's just a repeat of 1981. American Werewolf wins.
Anyway, moving on, we've got 2 more great competitors from 2 great movies. Both of these guys have some special armed training. We have Ryan from Dog Soldiers, and we have Lou Garou from Wolfcop.
Yeah.
So this is Richard Ryan. He is the guy who's a total bastard. And at one point, like early on in the movie, he tries to get one of the people who's training under him to shoot a dog. He's a jerk. He's a massive jerk. The family that they've come upon, I think they actually seem they're probably nice people. But he is one of the people who is genuinely a dick, who becomes a werewolf during their kerskluffle and is the last one killed by our hero. So he has combat experience hand to hand. He is a skilled marksman. He is skilled at survival and other kinds of army training. Yeah. He's a bipedal werewolf. These ones are extra tall, extra skinny, extra tall.
He might be the tallest one on the whole lineup, to be honest.
I think so too.
They're even way bigger than the ones from the Howling.
Yeah, they actually had them on like stilts for this movie. Weaknesses are they have absolutely no control over their wolf form. They will understand things like protecting their home, protecting their pack.
They're kind of like the intelligence of the velociraptors from Jurassic Park. Like they have some intelligence.
They can open doors.
Yeah, exactly. They can do that kind of stuff.
They have very human-y hands, so they can do a lot of things that a regular wolf can't, but their faces are very dog-like. But yeah, the family that got turned into wolves, that is the pack they come upon, they're just a nice, normal family. They really have no control over what's happening to them.
Yeah.
This guy is just extra crappy because as a human, he was already a dick and he has a lot of weapons training and such, but that isn't going to help him in this werewolf fight necessarily.
There's no sequel or anything, and I never see them actually use weapons as werewolves. So.
But some of that combat training might kick in. Right. Might kick into instinct. So let's move on to one of my favorites. If you guys haven't seen this guy, if you haven't seen I'm a wolf cop, I'm a wolf cop. If you haven't seen that or another wolf cop, you are missing out. I got the 2-movie Wolf Pack. They're both really fun. This movie is just cheese to the extreme. Tons of werewolf puns. And Lugaru is a badass. He wasn't that great of a cop necessarily. He is an alcoholic. Yes. He is kind of lazy. But he has, I feel like he has his heart in the right place. And he's able to figure out what's going on in his town, who are the people behind it in both movies, and able to put a stop to it. He is a bipedal werewolf, and he walks like a man. He still wears clothes and everything. So he is more humanoid than a lot of the werewolves we're seeing tonight. He also has a massive werewolf dong.
Yeah, it's a bloody red rocket when you see it change.
So gross. He's mostly in control. He knows who he is. He knows what's going on. His personality is largely the same. He is just bigger and stronger.
He can give into his cravings a bit, but other than that, he's pretty much in control of what he does.
He's got a little more animal magnetism. Yeah. He's got, obviously, some more impulse control issues. But he is still himself. He can still use a gun. He can still shoot well. He can still call for backup. He can still be a cop. He can still drive. He can do a lot of things as a werewolf that many of our competitors tonight cannot do. Yeah. His weaknesses are, Danny, why don't you tell us since you wrote that?
Ass kickings, because he gets his ass kicked a lot in both movies. But he still gets back up.
Being seduced by them witches.
Yeah, he also is a bit of a horn dog. I didn't write that down there, but he can. He can technically bleed out to death. There's both movies he comes close to doing so. And as we said earlier, he's an alcoholic, so.
And he doesn't have any particular vulnerabilities to werewolfy things like silver and such.
No.
But then neither does his opponent. And in case you're wondering, because I didn't show you earlier, and I do have these both here, I didn't do it for either of these competitors. So going back to Ryan. That is Ryan. That is Ryan as a werewolf. And here is... There is Ryan as a human.
Oh, there he is.
He is a right bastard. Right bastard.
Faces prick all over it.
Absolutely. He's just a dick, guys. He's a dick. But it's also not a popularity contest or a likability contest. It's who's going to kick the most ass here. And that is Lou Garou. Looks very much the same. He's still a scruffy bastard, but we love him. Lou Garou is awesome. So, Danny, who do you think is going to win this fight?
Well, Ryan is definitely stronger. Ryan is a lot bigger and will probably kick the crap out of Lou. I might give the advantage to Lowe, though, because he can use his guns, and Ryan can be killed by guns. That's how Ryan is killed. He's shot to death.
Son, I don't even know what you're talking about. They can both be damaged by bullets, and Lowe is still an excellent shot as a werewolf. He can also drive a car through this guy.
That's what I just said.
He can go right through his pretty little ballet dancer legs. And yes, they were inspired by ballet dancers. As far as strength and teeth and all that stuff, I think they're about equal. Lowe is a tough motherfucker. He also knows exactly what he's doing. He can strategize. He can wisecrack. I think this is a no-brainer. I think Lou's got this one in the bag.
I think Ryan is a lot stronger because he's a lot bigger and he could probably just backhand him and send him flying about 10 feet away. But that's regardless. Like I said, I still give Lowe the advantage. He can still use his guns. He can still drive a car. Ryan was shot to death. Lowe can shoot him to death. He has used shotguns and other weapons too, not just a handgun.
All right, so let's put the poll up there. We have Ryan, Corporal Ryan, I think is his name, from Dog Soldiers. And we have Lowe, Guru from Wolfcop.
A dog soldier and a wolf cop, both with a license to kill.
Exactly. The fuzz is here, guys. The fuzz is here. All right, I'm going to check in with our chat here in just a minute. So, yeah, for me, I feel like this is a no-brainer. I think Wolfcop has got this in the bag. What do you think?
I'm giving it to the wolf cop. I think it's, like I said, in a physical strength, Ryan's got it, but they're allowed to use their guns, and Lou's got a gun, and even in a wolf cop form.
And remember, this isn't about which movie you like more. Even if you haven't seen both of these movies, just compare their strengths and weaknesses and make your decision that way. If you haven't seen Wolf Cop, you can still use the information we've given you to make your decision. Don't vote for Dog Soldiers just because you think it's the better movie. I think it is the better movie. But this isn't a which is a better movie. This is a who would win in a fight.
As I said earlier, Lowe gets his ass kicked a bunch, but he always gets back up, and he's beaten things that technically could kick his ass. He's beaten them. And I think, yes, Ryan could technically kick his ass, but this is a fight to the death. Guns are allowed if they are allowed to use them.
Ryan can't use weapons. Exactly. Ryan can't drive. Ryan can't strategize.
Exactly.
And I think Lou's stronger than him.
I don't know about Lou's stronger.
I think he is. That guy is really tall and skinny. Lowe has more brute force.
The Dog Soldiers,
I think he could bum rush him.
The Dog Soldiers are really strong, so I'm gonna give Ryan the strength. He's like twice his height, and his arms are about as long as Lou's body. But
he still can't heal from a bullet.
Exactly. That's why I'm giving it to Lowe.
And Lowe can load the gun, shoot him in the head, do it again, get in his car, run him over. Ryan can just bite and scratch.
Exactly. I think Lowe would win.
I think this is a squash match, in my opinion.
Like,
okay.
A gorilla could rip me apart, but if I have a gun, I think I would win.
Let me check in with the chat. I have to say it's hard to make a decision on those wolf boys. Speaking of Sharknado, I know Ian from Sharknado is a dancer at Chippendales. That's really cool.
Ooh.
I've always wanted to see those. And the Thunder Down Under. I miss sci-fi.
You've seen Rescue Rangers plenty of times. What are you talking about?
You're right, Danny. I miss Sci-Fi Saturday Nights. I've never heard of either of them. Again, Katie, you can just go off of the information that we're giving you to make your decision on. I grew up with the director of Wolfcop, Lau Dean. That is super cool.
Rad.
Nicholas Vincent. What is that? Hold on a second. You have a name very close to the Chatterer in Hellraiser, which is Nicholas Vince. And that guy was also in Book of Monsters. But that's a cool, very cool horror name you got there. I've heard and seen both. Well done. Dog Soldiers is a cult classic, one of the greatest movies in my opinion. I 100% agree. I think it is the better movie. I still think Lowe is going to win this fight, though.
We almost got a Dog Soldiers, too. Like, they started a couple, shots of it, but then it just got shut down.
Dog Soldiers is a quintessential werewolf flick. I think it's amazing. It's also one of the best British movies I've seen. Love me some Wolf Cop, too. Alcoholic is a weakness. It's my superpower. You know, I think Lou Guru would say the same thing.
Cheers to you, Brian.
Have never seen either of those flicks, though. Dog Soldiers is awesome. Fun fact, the full moon aspect is a Hollywood thing not found anywhere in folklore. That's interesting to know, though. Some people say it has some origins to lycanthropy, which is actually an illness where people believe that human beings can go crazy and have like abilities like super strength and stuff on the full moon. A lot of people believe that. A lot of ambulance workers believe that there's more calls on the full moon. Police officers I know do. Even when I worked in an Alzheimer's house, an old folks home, it definitely seemed like people were affected by the full moon.
Yeah, and also just vampire lore, like where most creatures of the night, vampires weren't killed by sun originally, but they were strong at night. A lot of the creatures of night go back for that. Even like wolves would like to eat people's sheep and stuff, but you'd see that wolf head gleaming in the sunlight. That's what people were like, oh my god, there's a crazy wolf outside.
Some people believe that the full moon origins is just because in the old days you would be able to see more that was happening during the full moon. And so they thought that maybe necessarily not more was happening. You could just see more. But I don't think that explains modern days where, you know, a lot of police officers and stuff say that there are more calls.
Yeah.
I have like a hair like right in the middle of my head. There we go. Ryan would overpower Wolfcop. I disagree.
If he got in real close, I think that's true, and that's why I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think as long as Lou stays a bit of a distance, guns make a great equalizer.
Yeah, he could even just hit him with his car. Both are trained fighters.
Yeah.
But again, Ryan can't use any of his skills as a werewolf because he has no memory of who he is. These are difficult choices indeed. I'm going to vote for Lugaru. I think, to me, that's a no-brainer. Are you voting?
I'm going to vote right now.
All right. Get your votes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are calling it. Thank you, guys. The winner is Lugaru. Ow! Hey, Becky's here, guys. Becky.
Keep it clean.
We did some magic on you earlier to heal you.
Werewolf stare.
Yes. Alrighty. I hope you are feeling better. I think she said she was starting to feel better, so that makes me happy. Okay, our next fight. Oh, I gotta send Lou on to round 2.
I know Mr. Beefy was feeling better.
That's good. That makes me happy. Okay. Let's see who's next. So now we have Alcide, Sexy McSexerson from True Blood with all the abs. And it's so crazy because he just seems like such a likable person too. Like, you can't even just be like, you know, well, he's super ripped. He doesn't have a personality. Like, he's so funny. He was in that Pee-wee movie.
Yeah, he's also in Rampage, and he fought Ralph, the giant wolf.
He's adorable. I love him.
He's a great actor.
And he is fighting our favorite red-faced werewolf, Stu, who's also a friend of the vampires from What We Do in the Shadows.
I also like the actor played Alcide in How I Met Your Mother. He's funny on that.
Yes, he's always adorable.
Showed off the abs on that, but like the lake burned him, I think.
He is too precious for this world. So let's get into... we're doing pretty well on our time tonight, I think. Hopefully.
A lot of these creatures do have about the same powers and weaknesses. So it's going to be a little faster than usual.
This is Alcide as a wolf. And as you can see, Alcide as a wolf is a wolf.
He's a wolf.
He is a wolf. But this is Alcide as a dude. Ow.
I want to point out, though, well, like I said, his strengths are abs. He's also an alpha pack leader. He does become an alpha. He doesn't hesitantly want to, but he kind of sees that his pack is crumbling with bad leadership, so he steps up and becomes one. That does lead to him having power go to his head. He starts becoming corrupt with sexual favors from his werebitches. And, you know, it's not all the best for him. He is a vampire killer, though. And I want to say that while in human form, he is actually a lot stronger, a lot quicker, and able to fight with vampires. He doesn't have to be in the wolf form to use his powers. So in this fight, I would say he can be human form.
More like Abseed, says Mr. Flickster. I know, right?
Look at those cum gutters.
Nice and gross. Nice to see Wayne Turner here. Most underrated werewolf movie, Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf is actually coming up later tonight.
Yes,
my favorite actor of True Blood. I do love him. He's great. I'm not sure. I'm sure he's not just a skin changer or... no, he only turns into a werewolf. The only one who can turn into any animal in True Blood is Sam.
But Sam also isn't, like, super powerful or strong outside of changing in animals. Alcide is got a lot of skills.
I'm not comparing their strength. I'm just saying that he doesn't have that ability.
Yeah.
Sam is a straight. They're in True Blood. There are straight up straight shifters, and then there
Yeah.
are people who turn into particular things, like jaguars, werewolves.
That's what I was saying.
etc.
Like werewolves have actually like heightened strength and powers.
Yeah.
While shift changers just turn into animals.
I think someone just wanted to know if he only turns into a werewolf.
Yeah, only.
I'm suspecting they will turn into a size comparison between the werewolves, if you know what I mean. Laugh my ass off. My cat keeps trying to get in the chat. He won't stay out of the keyboard. He just let's just say Dante says hello. Hi, Dante. How is sex hungry a weakness? It's my superpower. Brian Miller, you're the best. You have all the best superpowers.
His leadership starts to folly when he becomes corrupt, and he never becomes completely immoral though. He still is like a good guy in the end. He becomes kind of a shitty leader.
Look at the pretty wolf he is, but he is just a straight up wolf. They are, I think, described as being slightly bigger than normal wolves, but they are pretty much just wolves. I can't remember. In your research, did you find out if they're vulnerable to silver or anything in particular?
I
think they are.
I know he is killed by a couple of humans who shoot him down. They're vigilantes. I don't know if they used silver, but I think they did.
All right.
I
think so, because they use silver with like the vampires and stuff too. I'm pretty sure they do, but it's been a while. Okay, so let's take a look at it here. Powers and abilities. Okay, they got strength, shifting, enhanced senses, all the wolf stuff.
Reflect agility and
it doesn't
senses.
say what their weaknesses are.
I know he's gunned down. I just know that much. I don't remember if it was silver bullets.
We need to find out. It's kind of important.
I couldn't find it. I can't remember. So.
He does kind of look like he's wearing silver. Let's find out here. I need to find out if he's vulnerable to silver. Powers.
Yeah, there's still no. It tells you how he got killed, but a couple of human vigilantes got him.
Okay, let's just Google search True Blood Werewolves
Weakness.
Silver. Okay. Okay, so silver in the True Blood wiki. I know it hurts vampires.
Yeah.
But there's no word about it hurting werewolves, so I guess not. Yeah,
I think they just shoot him with rifles. I don't think they have silver bullets.
All right, well, good to know. All right, his opponent. Bless his heart. Now, I will, as you notice, this werewolf is wearing a bra. This is actually Gracie from the TV show. It's really hard to get a good shot of the werewolves from the What We Do in the Shadows movie. There's a big fight at the end, but they're all moving really fast. And I couldn't find any images online. But this gives you an idea of essentially what they look like. They're bipedal werewolves.
Pretty big.
Stu in particular
Bigger
has
than humans.
Computer skills. He's got lovely rosy cheeks that the vampires all like. He's incredibly likable. Everybody loves Stu. He has a black belt in Taekwondo, a very supportive pack, but let's remember that they are werewolves, not swearwolves.
Yes.
Experience and friends with vampires. Weaknesses, swearing, and he can be killed by massive blood loss, though as of yet he is still not dead in the movie or the show.
No, he just has some scars. Like he carried them on.
From when he got turned into a werewolf.
Yeah, because he was clawed up by them and survived being attacked.
So werewolves in What We Do in the Shadows, do they have any vulnerabilities to silver or anything?
I think they do, but you don't have to kill them with that. I know vampires can kill werewolves and werewolves can kill vampires. So massive blood loss and decapitation will kill them regardless.
Decapitation!
Fire will kill them regardless. I mean, because Guillermo kills a bunch of vampires and stuff, he doesn't need to do silver to do it.
All right.
I think he might be weak to silver, but it's not necessarily a necessary. It won't kill him. You can kill him without it.
So I'm putting this in the chat. You guys can start voting whenever you are ready. I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to check in with the chat before I make my decision. My fave True Blood actor, Ryan Quantine, he was just in a movie called Glorious about, it's kind of like a Lovecraftian movie about a guy who's trapped in a bathroom with a demon that's in a, not a gory hole, a glory hole. If you know what I mean, I think you do. But I guess it's kind of a gory hole too.
Right.
The wolf is beautiful. I agree. I love wolves. Mummy says Alcide looks like he's wearing silver. I think you're right, Mummy. I don't think they have any vulnerabilities to silver. Dude, I always thought this HBO series is awesome and better than The Walking Dead. I really like True Blood. I liked Walking Dead too, but it kind of went downhill for me as it progressed because it just went on and on and on. It was a lot of the same.
Yeah.
But they're both very well made shows. Walking Dead has gone way too long. Yeah, I agree, Wayne. True Blood ended after 7 seasons, and the weird thing is it's actually getting a reboot. It's coming back with a revival. So to me, it feels like that show is not that old.
To be rebooting it, I think it's a little soon.
That's what I watched in my adult life. You know, that was, I think, the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. So to me, it feels like not enough time has
early
gone
2010s,
by.
I think. Yeah.
Early 2000s, because LOLZ was a baby before we met.
Oh, okay. But it was still going when we met, though.
It was. It was still going. I can give you the exact years if you want. At any rate, it is over now, and it is getting a revival. But yeah, it was in 2008.
Yeah, most of it in the early 2010s.
Oh,
it started
2008
in late
to
2000s.
2014.
There you go.
The power of grade school. We're werewolves, not swearwolves. This is entirely true.
This is hard for me.
Swearing is not a weakness; it's a necessity. Brian Miller is like there with the facts today. Yeah. All of the facts. I don't know.
I think Alcide.
I want to look at Alcide though because he's pretty.
All right, even because he's gonna be he does a lot of his fighting in his human form. Most of his fighting is done in his human form. He turns into a wolf when he can, but he mostly does that. He's still got enhanced abilities and strengths like that.
Do you think he has little wolf abs? Little baby wolf abs?
I don't know. He's kind of small as a wolf, actually. He actually shrinks. Where Stu's the opposite, though. Stu's got Taekwondo black belt, so he knows how to fight. But he's not
so mellow, though.
He's not in like certainly that type of shape, and he's not like a very angry fighter type person, even though he knows how to do so.
One thing I do remember is on True Blood that they can control when they change, whereas in what we do in the Shadows, they're mostly normal guys who know that on the full moon they need to chain themselves up. And that's the extent of it. They do not get into fights with supernatural beings. They largely are just normal guys who are almost like a one of those like men's groups where they have like drumming circles and stuff, who know that they need to chain themselves up. They've been in a few fights with some vampires before just because they don't get along. And then things get kind of messy. But Alcide has fought a number of different, demons, witches, vampires, other werewolves. Alcide has gone up against a lot more opponents than Stu. Yeah. So I'm going to say this goes to Alcide. He's also an alpha, which I think definitely helps him.
That is true. He has more experience killing vampires and other werewolves and stuff like that. Though the werewolves in his are small wolves. And vampires are strong and fast. I will have to say that. He can hold his own. He's Sookie's bodyguard for a while.
The other thing to keep in mind is Alcide has killed a number of vampires, and Stu has been in a battle against vampires, but they never kill any of them. It's just a fight. Like they don't like each other, but they're not going to kill each other.
They've killed each other. Like they've implied it at least.
Implied, but we've never seen it in the movie or the show. So based off of what we've seen in the episodes, Werewolf Feud on the TV show, and in the movie, I don't remember anyone dying in the movie. The movie, the worst thing that happened is they thought Stu died. Yeah. He just got turned into a werewolf.
They all had to retreat, though. Like the vampires had to retreat because they did not want to get killed.
I'm just saying there's a lot more bodies behind Alcide than there are behind Stu.
Yeah, definitely. Though I want to point out that Stu is a bigger, stronger werewolf than Alcide. Like, they get big.
I disagree. I mean, we also have the books to draw from here. They are, a force to be reckoned with. I think they're pretty similar in size. Stu's just bipedal.
Yeah, but he's gonna be a good
They're also way fluffier,
taller.
Dan, alright? They're fluffier.
They push down trees and stuff pretty easily.
But they can also restrain themselves by having themselves tied up to a tree.
That's inconsistency of the show, not because they showed their strength.
Oh! Bless your heart. Kevin says he absolutely has little wolf abs. That is my favorite thing I've heard. So Mr. Flickster says, Alcide can change at will and has more experience as a werewolf. He's fully embraced his wolf side. I'm reading the next 4 comments. Have you voted? Time to vote. Get your votes in, because when I'm done reading these comments, we are calling it.
Where are we at on percentage-wise?
It's right over here. I can't get enough of this actor. He's awesome and he's everything. I agree. I mean, there are some people where you're just like, why are you a 10 at everything? Like people like Ryan Reynolds and stuff, where it's like, it sucks that you're ridiculously
funny.
attractive, you're in ridiculous shape, you're really funny, you're really likable. I want to hate you because you're good at all the things, but I just can't.
Right.
And this, the guy who plays Alcide is absolutely one of those people where it's just like, you're amazing at everything and I can't hate you for it.
I think that Stu is a little bit more stronger when he's in his farm, but...
I gotta read this really quick. There's only one Stu Mocker! Get it up!
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, Wayne Turner. All right, I'm gonna end this. Did you vote?
Yeah, I did.
All right, my love. And it looks like our winner is Danny's. Tell him who our winner is.
Alcide. I don't know.
Hevero. I think so. You know,
Hevero.
it's hard because I
Hevero?
read the books first, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Because, like, you know, the show.
Yeah, I would say he probably would win. I think Stu is a little bigger and stronger in his werewolf form than Alcide is.
Well, he
but
just did win, so it's not a matter of he probably won. He just won. You just saw
my
him.
opinion.
You just saw him win, though. So
I do think he would win. I voted
your
for him.
opinion is like,
I
who
voted for him,
cares?
didn't I?
Because you just saw him win with his little wolf abs.
Kick your snark. Put it on hold.
His little
Let it
wolf
simmer.
abs. His sweet little wolf abs just kicked Stu's
I don't think
ass.
that form's going to help him in this fight at all, though.
His little wolf abs did help him, though, Dan. It just happened. It just happened.
But since he does most of his fighting in his other form, I think.
So,
just because of his experience. I give
David
it to him.
Thorson says, is William from Underworld 2 in this? I actually was really disappointed. For these ones, for this season of Fight Night, we let you guys pick. And so you guys nominated people. That's what our roster streams were for. And nobody nominated him, but I think he's a really great one. And when we do a season 2 of Fight Night, we're absolutely going to include at least somebody from Underworld, if not that character.
Yeah, I'm surprised. He was like
He's a
up for it,
badass.
but he just didn't get put in for some reason.
Yeah, he did. He was nominated, but everyone had to vote on who moved on into the fight.
Yeah.
Alcide is moving on to round 2. Let's find out who Alcide is going to be fighting. Dun, 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 dun. Next one. All right, we got some ladies in the house. We have, in one corner, we have Joni from Cursed and Ginger from Ginger Snaps. Now, guys, I know Ginger Snaps is a fan favorite film. Remember, this is not which movie you like better. It's who is going to win in a fight. Very well could be Ginger, but don't make your vote be based on the movie you like more. All right, so let's start up with Joni. And you know what? She did love Chachi because he was in that movie.
Right. So was Charles in charge.
One of the things I'm going to say right away here is Joni is the only werewolf I've ever seen give people the finger.
I love that picture.
I love her. She's so cute. Joni is fully aware of everything as a werewolf. She is essentially...
Why she's flipping someone off.
She's essentially a serial killer. She's killing everybody because the guy who turned her is, you know, she's obsessed with him and she wants them all to herself. So she's using the brute werewolf strength and everything to her advantage to kill people. She is also has some abilities that are not common to werewolves. She's able to leap really, really far. So she can leap about a story.
She can almost Spider-Man up a wall, too, almost.
She can. She can, indeed.
I mean, not quite as good as him, but still pretty damn close. Like, almost like how Angel kind of can climb up a wall like that.
Yeah.
She can do that kind of stuff.
So she's a bipedal werewolf. She's fully in control. But yeah, decapitation, bullets to the head. Did you find out anything about Silver? I don't think Silver mattered.
It didn't matter.
But they do have a mark that reveals if they're a werewolf on their palm, which is something from the Wolfman.
Silver might burn their skin or something, but it doesn't need to be Silver to kill her. She got shot in the head.
Yeah, she is ultimately shot in the head, but it wasn't a silver bullet.
No.
That's the part I couldn't remember. It's been a while since I've seen this, which is a shame because this movie is camptastic fun.
A bunch of cops shoot her, and they don't have silver bullets. They're just cops.
All right, there we go. So yeah, the big advantage she has here is she is fully in control. She got a lot of sass and the frass. And that's why I chose, not because they're ladies, that is why I chose her to go against the sassiest of the Sassmuxons. I'm just making up words now.
Oh,
and that's Ginger Fitzgerald.
Yes. From the Fitzgerald sisters.
Hold on, I want to say something here. Fairpoint Station, yes, Laurie Strode's daughter is a werewolf. She was a werewolf in Cursed.
Yes.
She had a whole 90s thing going on with that, and Jawbreaker, you gotta check it out. fluffier and into BDSM. Maybe I should change my vote. Maybe. So this is Ginger Fitzgerald. What movie is she from, Dan?
She is from Ginger Snaps. She is one half of the Fitzgerald sisters.
She's also a ghost in Ginger Snaps too, and her character returns for Ginger Snaps, the third one.
It's not her; it's her ancestor.
It's her ancestor, smash.
Because it takes place in like the Pilgrim days.
But you know, as much as when we get to Teen Wolf, they're all the same. I'm gonna say it's still a Ginger. Once a ginger, always a ginger.
The abilities and weaknesses still apply in that movie, so.
Do not worry, David. We got your back because we're gonna give you all the information you need to make a vote, even if you haven't seen the movies. Like we're just cool like that, you know. We love you, weirdos. We want to make sure you have all the information you need.
Now, Ginger has her beast mode where she is basically driven because she's a very hormonal young teenage girl to begin with. So when you have those werewolf things there, she's just saying, fuck it, I'm gonna go with the flow and endure my whatever she wants. She's gonna take what she wants.
Before she even turned into a werewolf, Ginger was somebody who was massively obsessed with the macabre, was already an outsider, had a lot of pent-up anger, and becoming a werewolf really gave her an opportunity to unleash that in a very powerful way. So not only is she a werewolf, but those hormones are really driving this creature to do things. It's the creature's also driving her. Like she becomes a lot more sexual. She becomes confident. A lot more confident. Like her sister doesn't even recognize who this person is anymore because of how much this wolf within her is changing her.
Yeah. So she has some awareness as a werewolf. Like she can smell her sister and kind of recognize that it's her sister. But other than that, she is basically a beast.
She's honestly, I would compare it to like Brundlefly, like how Brundlefly in the Fly remake, he is aware of who people are, but he is very much driven by the insect side of him. Like he wants her to become a fly too, which the man he was would have never wanted that. But the animal that he's become, the insect he's become, has changed her. Ginger's the same kind of way.
Yeah.
She would never, as Ginger, hurt her sister. But she becomes this werewolf, and then she goes after her sister because she kind of wants them to be the same. They do everything together. She wants her sister to be a werewolf with her.
Yeah. She even kills her boyfriend. And, her sister kind of tricks her by pretending to drink his blood and stuff, but Ginger kind of knows how insincere she is, and she still plans to bite her.
Yeah. So it really changes who she is, and it brings out a lot of that anger and hatred and that animal nature out of her.
She's very jealous as a person and as a wolf. She has weaknesses, I guess, Wolf's Bane, the extract of monk's hood, and a perennial plant mixed together will...
Perennial.
Yeah, perennial plant. It will, I guess, nerf the werewolfness. Like, it will kind of... But it won't completely cure her, but it will nerf werewolf abilities.
It can subdue it. Bridget uses this in the second movie. Yeah. She uses it to basically subdue her changes so she doesn't turn into a wolf. But...
They try to give it to Ginger, but they're too late.
Yeah.
But the werewolf that turned Ginger was killed by being hit by a van. So there you go. And also, Ginger herself is killed by a knife that's not superbly silver.
Yeah,
just a knife.
They're killed like any other animal.
Yeah. They are stronger. They, very deadly, but they're killable. Like, they don't have special healings and stuff.
But as animals, as wolves, they are not as intelligent as they are as humans. Case in point, Bridget is extremely intelligent. Her sister, Bridget, is a werewolf in the second one. And she ends up becoming someone's pet. Yeah. Because she doesn't have the ability she has as a human as a werewolf.
No. So, there you go. They're very deadly, but they're not, mystically invulnerable.
And here's a little look at what Ginger looks like as a wolf. This is more of a model than used for the movie, but it just gives you an idea of what she looks like. She's on all fours, but she still has very much like a human frame to her.
I think her and David might be the quadrupedal werewolves of this. I think everybody else is pretty much bipedal.
Mostly, yeah.
So, yeah, she's in all fours. Wolf. Oh, yeah, I guess, from True Blood, he was a regular wolf.
Yeah, he's a regular wolf.
But he does most of his fighting as his... Yeah,
it's just a regular wolf, too.
There you go. But, yeah, and she's a hell of a beast like this, but a van can kill her.
She's pretty intense looking, that's for sure. I mean, this is definitely a character that's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put the poll in the chat, but why don't you start letting us know who you think is gonna win?
Ginger, I think, has a better bite once again when it comes to like that first fight we had. However, it's not quite as much. She doesn't have all the girth that David had. She's not
Stop saying girth. It makes me laugh.
She's not even like as agile as he is. Like he was jumping on cars and stuff. These ones get hit by cars. These ones also, when in the basement of a house, have a hard movability. Like you can get around them if you're quick enough, and you can kind of dodge. They can't like quite get you when you're in a crevice of some sort. So they're kind of bulking, just beasts that don't move very well. I'm gonna give it to Joni because she's way more intelligent as a wolf. She's really strong. Her arms are just as thick, if not thicker. Her bite force is probably about the same. She is an evil serial killer, and she can like leap up buildings and stuff.
100%. I think you put it perfectly. Joni is a serial killer. She has all that anger and hatred that Ginger has, but she has all the intelligence of a human being. And she's able to, I mean, she's flipping off somebody here. She is completely in control of what she's doing. She also has some werewolf abilities that Ginger just doesn't. Ginger, part of it's the special effects, but part of it is also just the creature she is. Ginger does not have that kind of maneuverability. She cannot jump. We've never seen any of them jump. She got hit by a van, so I think if she could jump out of the way, she probably, or if they could jump out of the way, she didn't get hit by the van, the one who made her did. But I think if they could jump out of the way, they would have.
Yeah, and even Bridget.
To dodge things, I think they would. Joni can jump to a second floor.
Mm-hmm. Bridget is put in a basement at the end of the second movie as a werewolf, and she can't get out of that. Like, there's a trap door, and there's no way she could jump up. If it was Joni, she could escape that easily.
Joni 100% could just break it. She's a lot stronger than Ginger. Again, guys, it's not which movie you like more. It's which werewolf's going to kick more ass. And in this one, I have to give it to Joni.
I think Ginger's a cooler character, and I do like that movie a little more. But Joni, I love how she flips people off. So she is awesome herself.
She's an awesome character. And like I said, I prefer the Ginger Snaps movie, but that's not what this is. It's who would win in a fight. And in this case, Joni takes the win as far as I'm concerned.
I'm going to go with Joni, too.
All right, I'm going to give Joni my vote. And I'm going to check in with the chat. So if you're undecided, now is the time to get your votes in for either Joni from Cursed or Ginger from Ginger Snaps. Didn't Ginger play American Mary? Yes, she did. She was also in Freddy vs. Jason, Supernatural. She's been in a lot of stuff.
She's cool.
We are Ginger. I don't know if I'm supposed to read that as we are group, but I am. Sadly, I got to go to sleep. Good night, Wayne.
Party on,
Good night, Wayne. Yeah, that's why I was screwing in my head. Hi, Wayne. Cursed is a fabulous hidden gem from Wes Craven and Kelvin Williamson.
I think it's underrated.
I agree. I think it's really good. Recognizing family is 100% a weakness. Oh, there's Uncle Dale over there with his Mac. Oh, wow. Hit that like, keep it like, and thank you so much, Nelly. I really appreciate that. Nelly is always awesome about just leaving me great comments. She is a veteran werewolf. This is true. Ginger is a rookie. Nice to see you, Ben Grimm. Love Ginger Snaps, but Joni seems more powerful. I agree. Hey, guys. Ginger wears pink on Wednesdays. I did vote. Interestingly enough, I kind of like Curse. I like Curse, too. I think they're really good. Mm-hmm. All right, and very interesting. It was really, really close. But it looks like, who's our winner, Danny?
Did Joni win?
Uh-huh.
All right, cool. Last I checked, Ginger was winning, but cool.
It was close. It was close. So that means Joni is going to go on to the next round where she will fight Alcide.
Yeah. And I don't think Ginger would go down easily, just because they're both, you don't need silver to kill either one of them. You can just claw or rip each other apart. The other werewolf that turned Joni, he was just decapitated. That's how he died. So they can be like just ripped apart. And I'm not saying Ginger wouldn't have the ability to do so. I just think Joni overall has the odds.
I agree. Kevin says release the Craven cut. I agree. This one and Deadly Friend both suffered a lot from studio meddling, and I would love to see Wes Craven's original cut for both those films.
Wes Craven in general suffered a lot from
Joni was the cuter
meddling.
one. That is not how we vote, Zigma. That is not how we vote. Zigma did not understand the assignment. Okay. Moving on.
Like, nowadays, looking back, Ginger's a bit of a child in that movie, but I was a child when that movie came out, and yeah, thought Ginger was pretty hot.
I think Ginger's hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are halfway through the first round. Like I said, the first round is always the slowest one. It gets a lot faster. So let's get up to the second part of this round. Now we have the movie Late Phases versus Silver Bullet. The characters who are fighting are James Griffin from Late Phases versus Reverend Lowe from Silver Bullet. These characters have a lot in common. They are both very religious and very evil.
Yeah.
Here is James. We'll introduce him first. One thing I will say about James is one of the cooler looking werewolves I've seen.
He almost looks like he's half like gremlin in werewolf.
Yeah, so this is James Griffin. He's played by Lance Guest, who you might remember from The Last Starfighter or Halloween 2. His abilities are he's a bipedal werewolf. His weaknesses are he has asthma. It's one of the things that gives him away in the end, because this movie is kind of a whodunit, and I'm really sorry if you haven't seen it. I just forget who the killer is. A really, really cool movie set in kind of a retirement neighborhood.
He's not the only person who has that like familiar wheeze, but he's the one.
It's set in this retirement neighborhood, and people in this neighborhood are getting killed, including the newest resident, who is a blind veteran.
And it wasn't a mummy this time.
When his dog, his seeing eye dog, is killed, he kind of takes it upon himself to find out who is doing it and to take them down as like the last thing he does on this earth. But yeah, ultimately we find out in the end it is James Griffin who is turning other people into werewolves and kind of taking over the neighborhood that way. But this is him as a werewolf. Really, he almost reminds me of the gremlin on the plane in Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and he also kind of even just has like stripes, ears, and stuff like Gremlin's gremlin. It's really cool and really creepy. Kind of has like the pumpkin, or not Pumpkinhead so much, but that the alien that's part human from Alien Resurrections,
Yes,
like
the
face.
hybrid.
Yeah, with the dark eyes and
from Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
Oh, good call there.
The
Good
really
call
dark
there.
eyes and stuff.
Definitely one of the cooler looking werewolves though. Like I really like the look of this werewolf. But yeah, this is we were talking about old dude werewolf for our buddy Patrick. Here you
Hashtag
go.
old dude werewolf. He's even got the gray hair.
Anything else you want to say about James?
Even though silver is a weakness, I don't think it's necessary to kill him. He gets staked in the eyes, and that like he goes because a blind man stabs him in the eyes. It's pretty funny that happens to him. And he's also killed by an old blind man. A badass old blind
man who taught me how to die.
Right? I mean, a badass old blind man.
Oh yeah, that guy is a badass. And you know, we don't have enough heroes in their golden years. This is a character who's in his 60s, so 100%.
Reminds me of Don't Breathe.
More people need to watch Late Phases if you haven't already. Yeah. It's a quality werewolf. Like I believe it's on Shudder. It's a really good one.
Came out only a few years ago. So.
James looks like he has werewolf boobs. You know, there are some female werewolves in this, so it could be one of them. I'm just grabbing, pardon me, a werewolf from the movie, but he might have werewolf boobs. I mean, he might have some werewolf man titties.
They're all up there in age, and yeah, maybe it's
things start sagging when you get older. You know, you get into your 60s, you get into your 40s.
Hashtag old man werewolf. Here you go.
Yes.
Saggy old man.
Yeah. So let's see who his opponent is. Now, Reverend Lowe is quite a bit older too, but still sexy. And I don't often say that about people who are Catholic priests, being that I'm a witch.
Yeah.
But this is Reverend Lowe. I am a little sad that I love the Silver Bullet movie. Don't get me wrong, but it is based on it was originally a calendar idea and it became kind of a graphic novel by Stephen King. This is one of the cooler werewolf origin stories that didn't make it into the movie. Essentially, the Reverend is picking flowers from a graveyard, and the flowers die. They turn black before he's able to like put them in water or something. That's why he becomes a werewolf. Like there are some crazy legends out there. Like if the seventh son is named Bernard, that's one of them. If you drink water from a werewolf's paw print, which is from Hemlock Grove, another one I was really sad didn't make it on this list.
Yeah.
But I'll be doing the rosters for the next one, and I'm gonna make it happen. But yeah, Reverend Lowe, I think he has a cool origin story, and it's actually really sad. He doesn't realize that he is the werewolf until he's attacked by Corey Haim's character, who's a little boy in a wheelchair. Him and his uncle, who's played by Gary Busey, team up to find out who the werewolf is. This is another whodunit. But he doesn't even realize initially that he is the killer, and then when he does, he becomes very kind of sadistic about it, and he almost makes like his flock, like his his people who go to his church, he starts making them werewolves and stuff too.
Yeah, he's a very weird man because like man of the cloth, but then once he realizes he is the werewolf, because the whole eye gives it away because he gets wounded in the eye.
He gets a firecracker in the eye from the little boy who initially nobody believes. But this is one of the dead giveaways that this is the werewolf and that he was right.
He is killed with a silver bullet. I don't think he has to be, once again, like late phases. I'm not necessarily thinking the silver has to be what kills you. I think they are both weak to silver.
Well, see, that's the thing with a lot of these ones with silver. Yes, silver is a vulnerability, but usually decapitation works just as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that didn't make this list that I'm kind of sad about is Monster Squad.
That one is super durable. Like you have to have a silver bullet.
Even when he's cut into many pieces, it's like he comes right back together.
Dynamite down his pants, hit him out the window of like a 3-story building with a bat. He explodes in midair, but all those pieces combined back together, and there you go. Where Reverend Lowe, since he is shot with a silver bullet, he does go back into human form as he dies, and I think it like takes away the curse. But I think you could kill him other ways. He is wounded in the eye by a firecracker, just like how we talked about late phases with the eye wounds. I think technically they can be hurt and killed other ways. Technically, I mean, it doesn't heal.
One of the things I will say is he has like I know the makeup in this one isn't as good as some of the other werewolves we've seen, but look at those jaws. That looks like a real dog's mouth.
It's good for what it was, and the budget it probably had.
I'm just saying, like, looking at this as a fighter, those jaws look scary.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Though Mummy says, why does he look like a teddy bear? He does look.
He looks kind of like Alf.
A little bit.
Like a darker version of Alf, but.
And I'll ask you guys at the end of the stream tonight, because it's all up to you what we do on Horror Hangout. Horror Hangout is your guys' stream. When I have guests on here, I'm really focused on them, and I appreciate that you guys are always understanding. But Sunday nights is all about you guys and what you want to see. So if you want season 2 right away, we might do that. But the next one, we're going to do some dream matchups that we want to see.
Yeah. And so like I said, I think they could definitely kill each other without silver and this for the sake of this battle because they both get wounded and the wounds stay. So I think we kind of have to just make that a rule regardless, like because just for them to be able to kill each other and not be able to use silver.
I'm just putting in the vote.
I actually met Gary Busey as a small child shortly after I saw Silver Bullet for the first time, and I was really excited to meet him. He like ruffled my hair. Like, how you doing, kid? It was funny because I don't think any of his scenes like were in Wenatchee, but he was just here when they were filming an Ice-T Surviving the Game. He's in that movie too, but I don't think any of his scenes were in Wenatchee, but he was here, and I was super excited to meet him. When I got older, I'm like, oh man, I should have been a little more worried about Gary Busey.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was really afraid of Ice-T at the time. I was like, I'm too afraid to talk to him. I saw him from a distance, but I'm like, oh, he's a cop killer because of his music. I don't want to be around him. He's a little scary, but Gary Busey, I remember, oh yeah, he's the guy from Silver Bullet, and I know he was a bad guy in Under Siege, but he doesn't seem scary. That's about all I knew about him.
They were up here because the movie Surviving the Game, some of the scenes in that in particular, the jail scene, was filmed in our town. My dad actually worked for the police station at the time, and I remember he was bragging about being the guy who had to open up the jail cell so they can use it for filming.
Yeah, and I don't remember Gary Busey being in any of those scenes. Like, I don't think he shows up in the movie until they're at the cabin.
Yeah.
But he was here for it anyways, and my dad was the manager at the theater, and out in the alleyway right behind the theater is where they filmed the part where Ice-T's dog gets hit by the car. So I was there for it. I was like, oh, cool, kind of watching. But
so we've got the vote up in the chat. Who do you think's going to win this fight?
This is actually really hard. I don't know actually who would have the advantage. I'm going to go...
Here's what they have in common. They're both very religious, though James Griffin, he is not a pastor, though he's very close to his pastor.
Yeah.
But he's kind of... They're both creating like their own little army, their own little flock.
One of his churchgoers and late phases of the old ladies that are in the...
But I will say Reverend Lowe is younger. He's in better shape. He's able, even after the eye thing gives him away, he's able to kind of hide in plain sight, because he is a pastor. But ultimately, he's a lot thicker than...
More girth?
He's girthier, as Danny would put it.
Got more girth?
Than James. James is a really cool-looking werewolf, and I think he's got more agility.
Yeah, I think he would be a little more agile.
But I feel like the Reverend is not as agile, but he's got more strength.
More bite force too, because that is not a jaw that would have a lot of bite
that's
force
not a very. I don't have a very deep jaw set. So who are you gonna vote for?
This is hard. This is actually, I hate to say it, but this is like, I actually enjoy both of these movies, and the werewolves are cool, but this is the bottom of the barrel. Like, this is who is the least worst.
Oh, Danny!
I have to say, they're both injured in the eye, without Silver injuring their eye. And one is killed by a blind old man. The other one's killed by a little boy in a wheelchair.
Hey! And Gary Busey.
Who helps.
Who's an alcoholic in the movie. So,
Yeah.
you know, he has his disadvantages.
The little boy
too.
is who shoots the silver bullet. So one is killed by a little boy in a wheelchair.
But I will say,
the other one's killed by a blind
what's
old man.
cool about that movie is nobody believes the little boy except for his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really trusts his uncle because he's an alcoholic and his mom thinks the kid's mom thinks he's a loser. It's her brother. But these two very unlikely heroes are able to do something that nobody would have guessed.
Exactly.
And save their town.
Nobody believed...
and same thing with Late Phases.
Yeah, they didn't believe him either.
An old veteran that nobody wants to listen to because he's past his prime. And he's able to save his neighborhood.
But his dog was killed, and they just
So,
they write it off as an animal attack.
These movies pair very well together.
They do, actually. This is a good setup, but I do think these are the two weakest in the lineup.
I'm gonna go with. See, I feel like James has got that agility, like be on your back like a spider monkey.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go for Reverend Lowe. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably give it. He's also a little more nuts. I mean, they're both pretty nuts.
They are. I mean, honestly, with James Griffin, I feel like his passion, like his religious passion, kind of coincides with being a werewolf. Like he feels like it's part of like this mission he's on. Whereas the Reverend, it's like he's almost angry that he's a werewolf, and
he's not supposed to be the villain. He's the man of God, and
yeah,
I think he twists it in his head where it is like, okay, this is God's will. Then.
Yeah, he kind of twists in his head where it's like God's will. So. The Reverend, I think, is a little scarier. If I had to go against them, James Griffin's werewolf is a lot like the gremlin on the plane.
Yeah.
But I think Reverend Lowe's like hovering above you, just that massive strength. That's like Braun Strowman and get these hands. So I'm gonna be a little more afraid of Reverend Lowe.
Yeah, I'm giving the slight edge to Reverend Lowe.
I'm gonna check in with the chat and then I'm gonna call the poll. Looks like a man bear pig. Yes, indeed.
Oh.
Dice, if I remember correctly, someone wasn't happy with how the werewolf looked in Silver Bullet, whether it was Stephen King or Dino De Laurentiis. I remember that too, and I also remember that Dice did a fantastic review on Silver Bullet. Dice has done many fantastic reviews. Dice has got incredible wry wit. Yeah. Dice has done Monster Club. They're just an incredible reviewer. I've always been a big fan of Dice, so if you haven't already, you can click those 3 dots on the side there, go to that channel, and subscribe. I highly recommend it. Dice is also one of my buddies over on Freaky Girls Live.
And even though I'm not none of that, she's one of my buddies too. So go check her out.
Zigma says, #OldDudeWerewolf. Kevin says, I totally watched a movie with a werewolf priest versus a zombie nun. I'm going to be a zombie nun in a movie.
I'm just going to be a zombie in the same movie, but it's going to be fun.
I'm really excited. So she was so sweet too. She's like, so like, is being a nun like against your religion? I was like, no.
Is this going to offend either of you? No.
Not at all. Not at all.
These movies, both of these movies are why I'm kind of afraid of mainstream religion like that. You know? Like,
I think being a zombie nun is going to be really, really fun. Really, really fun. Though I was christened Catholic as a baby because my dad's Catholic.
Mormon and a bunch of other things.
I have all the cards.
So like when you get to
I identify as a witch.
Afterlife, you're just gonna like pull out all these like kind of like in the Mummy when he has all the necklaces, you know, and he's trying to like ward off the all the necklaces. Like look.
I've been baptized Baptist. I've been christened Catholic. I've been baptized Mormon, and I've had a devotional for Wicca. But I mean, as a Wiccan. As a Wiccan, we kind of view spirituality as like a big diamond, and so we see no reason to convert anybody because we don't think we have all the answers, and we see every other religion as basically being a different dogma for the exact same thing.
Especially when used in the right way.
Exactly.
Both of these people like fighting right now use it the wrong way.
It makes it easy to respect other religions and to not get too bent out of shape when there are differences. Because honestly, I'm probably wrong about 90% of what I believe in, but it's what gets me through the day, and that's all that matters.
I believe as I'm alive, so I have no idea what it's going to be like to be dead. But one day we'll all find out.
You just find the answers that get you through the day, and as long as you're a good person, I don't think it matters.
Cheers to you on that.
Sandy Absolute, another person I'm a big fan of. Reverend Lowe was always scary as hell to me growing up. Love this movie. I also love that Anne of Green Gables is in this movie. Just a little fun thing. Gary Busey has the same birthday as me. Mommy, that explains a lot.
It must
In
have been a
all
full
the
moon
right
that night.
ways.
Just kidding, Mommy, I love you.
The book version of Silver Bullet is better in my opinion. I agree. Wasn't that a nightmare sequence in Silver Bullet? Yeah, it is when he imagines the whole congregation turning into werewolves, but I think it's kind of part of this plan he has where he is going to start turning people. So, I guess he doesn't actually do it, but I still think that there is a
Good similarity.
correlation. Don't need legs to shoot. This is true. I also
Right.
thought it was nuts how the Reverend hated himself for what he's done. He has a lot of guilt. Never trust a severely religious person. Absolutely. Yeah, amen to that indeed. All right, so I'm going to call the vote, and it looks like our winner is dun, 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 Reverend Lowe. All right, so Reverend Lowe is going to move on to the next stage here. And all right, so we have another one coming up here. We have the movies Wolf and one of my personal favorites, Bad Moon. Wolf is a classic from, I think, 1994, starring Jack Nicholson.
And Michelle Pfeiffer. And it wasn't a Batman
James
movie.
Spader.
Two Batman villains together in a different movie.
Really great movie. And Bad Moon is a terrific movie, an even better book called Thor. Really great book. Truly, like, I think one of the only books that's ever actually made me, like, teary-eyed. You read it too. It's a great book.
Because Thor's guilt, like, because it's in Thor's head and his perspective most of the book. There's a little bit that's not, but
back up a little bit. Thor is a werewolf story from the perspective of the family dog that's trying to protect the family. And the family dog knows that the uncle who's coming to stay is a werewolf.
Yeah.
But as much as he's trying to protect his family because he knows there's a predator in their midst, it's going to hurt them. When he attacks the uncle, he's told he's a bad dog. They even send him away. And he is so upset he stops eating and everything because all he ever wanted was to make his family happy.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. They do a good job in the movie, but they change a few things.
Might take a potty break. You chat with the chat.
Okay, we'll just wolf it out.
Just wolf it out until I get back. You can tell with the plots of these two movies.
All right, so in Jack Nicholson and Wolf, he is turned into a werewolf. He starts, he hunts deers like naked as a human. It's funny, and he eats them and feasts on them, and he's even like he takes it to work where like this guy is being a total dick to him at work, but he's like all of a sudden great, and he's like, I can smell the whiskey in your breath from my office, like around there. He like calls him up and stuff. His senses are all heightened. He becomes this sexual raw beast of an animal, and he protects Michelle Pfeiffer from another wolf, and they just kind of wolf at it. It's great. It's a very underrated 90s film. Well, I don't know if it's underrated. Maybe not. But I don't hear enough people talk about how great it is. Not since the 90s anyways. And then, yeah, Thor as the book. But in Bad Moon, in the book, there's still a dad and the uncle comes to visit and all that stuff. And it's all from the dog's point of view. In Bad Moon, it's not all from the dog's point of view, but the dog is the hero. The dad is no longer even in the movie. They just took him out. He just doesn't exist. The mom's like a lawyer, and she's got 2 kids and a German Shepherd, Thor. He's an Alsatian. He is a pretty brutal dog, but he saves the family from this werewolf. There you go. So, Uncle Ted is done in. Well, we're not even at the synopsis parts because she wants to probably come back for us to do the who is what. Right? I'm assuming. Where's this winner thing? Turn that off. No. There we go. Just taking the winner thing off. I don't know how far I should go without her. Hurry up and pee, woman. Okay, Will Randall is the wolf. He's got intelligence, turns into a wolf. He has, and even in his human form, like I said, all of his senses are heightened. He's smarter, he's more spry. He's spry as fuck, as Joe Bob would say. He can smell you from far away. He knows, basically, if your heart, he can listen to you when you lie and stuff. He knows, when you're upset. He can understand all these senses. His weakness is he's got really no memory and limited control as a wolf, though he will not betray his nature.
So yeah, we're talking about Will Randall here. Hey, honey.
Show him the human form.
The
sexy beast human form.
Sexy beast human form is...
There you go.
Jack freaking Nicholson. So what I mean, because I'm the one who wrote this one up, is by will not betray his natures. Will is very concerned as people turn up dead, including people like his ex-wife, that he is the one killing people. Oh. And he learns that in this movie anyway, the wolf will not do anything the man wouldn't do. Yeah. So if the man doesn't have the ability to kill people, like if that's just not in him, the wolf won't do it. And he's a good man. He would not kill somebody. He ends up finding out that it's his conniving co-worker, played by James Spader, who is the murderer. Because he's somebody who just has that kind of evilness in him. But Will Randall is a good-hearted person. So in this universe, if you're a good-hearted person, you're going to be a good wolf. Yeah. If you're a bad person, you're going to be a bad wolf.
Right. And, yeah, he's... Like I said, there's a part where he hunts a deer naked in Jack Nicholson form still. Like, his abilities in human form are still heavily heightened. It's kind of like True Blood.
Well, and the difference here, too, is this is very different. It's a very different werewolf story. Because essentially what Wolf is, it's the story of a man who becomes a wolf. There really is no... The werewolfness is the in-between. Yeah. So he's bitten, and then he slowly becomes more of the wolf. And it ends with him becoming entirely a wolf. And he doesn't ever change back. Yeah. And same thing with Michelle Pfeiffer's character. She becomes a wolf. They will never, ever turn back.
They run off into the woods together.
This werewolf stage is the in-between. The transition between man and wolf.
As far as we know. I mean, they might turn back, but I doubt it. It doesn't imply it doesn't imply that that's going to happen.
I mean, this is him as an actual full wolf. And he's all adorable and puppety.
But yeah, a lot of the movie, he is still Jack Nicholson. His eyes get all like, and he's all like really heightened abilities.
But he's an intelligent person. He works in publishing. He's a good person. But he has no memory of what he's doing as a werewolf. And that's why he doesn't know that he is not the one killing people. He sees that they're people that he would have motive for, I guess. He doesn't get along with his ex-wife, but he wouldn't kill her. But he doesn't know if he would be the kind of wolf that would do that. So he does look into ways to try and stop it, like amulets and stuff. That does kind of subdue it a little bit. But ultimately, when he realizes that he's not the bad guy here, he changes. And there is another kind of like in-between one where he looks a little more like the wolf man. He's got the sideburns and such, the eyes, the hairy chest, and the sweat. Yes. And he is... Have you talked about our opponent at all?
I talked about the movie. I didn't really necessarily go into Ted, though.
So this is Ted. Ted Harrison, one of the cooler werewolves of the 90s. And Ted Harrison is played by Michael Perry, who just did sexy. He was in that Eddie and the Cruisers movie. Yeah. But he is a bipedal werewolf, and he is extremely manipulative. He's trying to survive. So Ted was a good guy. He goes out camping with his girlfriend. They are attacked by a werewolf, and his girlfriend is killed. And he's hiding out there in the middle of nowhere. And his sister, not knowing what's really going on, is just like, hey, come stay. You need to be with family. You lost somebody very dear to you. You're obviously going through something. You need to be with your family, just like any sister would. Yeah. And he gives in, and he knows it's kind of the wrong thing to do, but he does want support. He does want family. So he goes to stay with his sister and her young son. In the book, it is a family of 2 children.
The dad is in the book.
He has 3 children, maybe. Oh. But there is a mother and a father. There's at least 2 kids.
I think in the book, I think there's 2 brothers and a younger sister.
Yeah, I think there's 3 kids. 2 brothers and a sister.
Yeah, and the dad is still around in the book.
Yeah. Whereas in the movie, it's a single mom and a kid. But in both of them, they have a very big Alsatian, or as you say in America, a German Shepherd named Thor. Yeah. And I love the descriptions in the book so much. I mean, you miss a lot in the movie. Like, there's a description in the book where Thor is just sitting on the front lawn, but he is fully aware of where the children are, what they're doing, what they're playing, where the cat is. He knows where his entire pack is, and he takes their safety very personally. And it's just such a unique interesting way to tell a story, and you really care about Thor as a character without it ever being cartoony. But even in Bad Moon, Thor is a character, and you care for this dog because it's a very big dog. You know, German Shepherds, people are afraid of German Shepherds.
Why police use them.
Early on, somebody tries to provoke the dog so they can get like a lawsuit, you know, if the dog bites them.
Snapped at me, I'm gonna sue. And that kind of
and so, you know, they're aware they have a very big dog and they need to make sure that this dog behaves because this dog could be destroyed if it bit the wrong person.
Yeah.
And then when it not only attacks, but goes, you know, it chooses her brother to attack. They're just like, well, Thor, you're being a bad dog.
Yeah, that's
and it's really sad.
In the book, he smells all the victims of, like, animals, deers and bears. Ted even kicks down a bear in the book. And he knows this all around Ted's property, because they go visit Uncle Ted before he moves in. And he knows something's up, and that's why he really doesn't like him. And I think in the book, they even, like, maybe in the movie, too, they imprison Thor for a little while. He does go to, like, an animal shelter for a little while.
It's hard to tell because I've read the book and the movie.
I can't remember exactly which ones are
in the book, they do send Thor to a shelter.
Yeah, and the kids have to go break him up. That's, like, one of the few scenes that's
that
not from
doesn't
Thor's
happen
point
in
of
the
view.
movie. I don't
think it does.
I believe in the movie they lock Thor in a room.
Yeah.
And Thor gets out. Ted isn't a bad guy. He initially
No.
tries to chain himself up. He thinks he can be there. He can be safe. He can tie himself up. He won't hurt his sister or his nephew. But this dog starts to really get at him. You know, it's almost like challenging him. It's like, you know, like he still thinks that he's this guy who wouldn't hurt his sister, and he's threatened by this dog who's basically treating him like he's the villain. And the more he tries to not be that character, the more he becomes the villain, to where he will attack his sister.
Yeah.
He will attack his young nephew. And the truth is that Ted has no control over himself as a werewolf.
No.
But he is a very manipulative person. He manipulates his sister a lot throughout this book and this movie. He's very intelligent. He is good at survival. He survives out camping in the extreme wilderness for quite a while.
Yeah, he tries chaining himself up into the trees, but eventually he breaks down the tree and
yeah.
gets loose. In the book, the dad helps fight him. It's Thor and the dad together. In the movie,
we're going off the movie.
In the movie,
mostly.
it's just Thor. And either way, though, both endings, it ends with, even as a werewolf, he dies because Thor rips out his throat.
Yeah, Thor is badass.
Mm-hmm.
Thor is badass. And yeah, it's sad because Ted he didn't intend to do these things, but he does become a monster, and Thor is ultimately the monster slayer. Ted is also a very scary werewolf. He is very tall. He is built a lot like, thicker than dog soldiers, but he reminds me a lot of the werewolves from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He's not quite as tall as the ones from Dawson.
Reminds me a lot of those from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
The bipedal ones.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the one that dates Angel.
Yeah, well, also the one in the very first episode that had a werewolf. Then they kind of became like these four-legged things briefly.
Possums.
Yes. Anyway, so there are your opponents. Let's get the vote up. And I'm going to check in with the chat and see what they're thinking. But what are you thinking, Dan?
Now, I think Ted is a scarier werewolf, and maybe more vicious in a lot of ways. But ultimately, a German Shepherd took his throat out and killed him. I think Jack is a very intelligent and strategical wolf that could do the same thing. He's bigger and probably faster than Thor. So I'm gonna go with the wolf.
They're both highly intelligent characters. I'm a little on the fence. I'm going to check in with the chat and see what they're saying. So Dice says, yes, Wolf came out the same year I was born. I'll take it. Is Jack Nicholson circumcised? That's a very good point.
I have to ask Michelle Pfeiffer. Not that
we're
she would
gonna have to check with somebody who has seen his Nicholson. Wolf is Wolf even when he's a man. Yeah, I agree. I believe he is. It was pretty common in those days for men to get circumcised. I did not know it was based on a book. Thor was great in the movie. I know that. The book is called Thor. I believe it's by Wayne Smith. Is that right? Yeah. The book is by Wayne Smith. It's a really, really good book. You can check it out from Amazon Kindle for $2.99. It's entirely worth it. It's one of my favorite books. It's fantastic. The 90s was a very different time for horror movies. I agree, but I loved it. If he impregnated someone, would they make a wolf baby or a human baby? Maybe a little bit of both wolf like Eddie Munster.
Maybe they'd have a litter. I'm not sure.
Who do you think's gonna win? I think you said Will Randall, right?
I think I'm going with Will. I think Ted's a little scarier and is more vicious in a sense, but if he lost to an Alsatian, I think he would lose to a wolf.
Here's the thing about
Will, just as noble and
is he went against somebody who was scarier than him, and he killed him.
Exactly.
Which is James Spader's character, who is essentially a serial killer, ruthless, nasty guy, kind of rapey. Yeah. And Will Randall, the nicer guy, does kick his ass.
Yeah, and like I said, he has heightened abilities when he's in between form, and he's still a badass when he finally becomes a full wolf. And I think as his badass full wolf, he would be just as effective as Thor. I love Thor, but I think Will would just have if Thor.
But
could
I
take
feel
down
like
Ted,
Will would be a lot like Thor. He would recognize that this guy may have
Exactly.
once been a good person, but now he is a monster and he's a threat to his family, and Will would
Exactly.
take him out.
I think Ted has, like, in a sense, the strength and stuff, but he's a little slower moving. Like, he can't keep up with Thor's speed. So I'm just gonna give it to
He's killed
Will.
by a much smaller German Shepherd,
Exactly.
albeit one that's super intelligent.
Exactly. But I think Will is very super intelligent.
Thor
wolf.
is a hero. Thor is one of my favorite protagonists of any book. But yeah, I don't know if Thor could take out some of the other werewolves on this list, so I'm gonna give it to Will Randall. I'm gonna agree with you on this one.
It's like I said, I'm not saying he's scarier. I just think he would win if.
All right, have you cast your vote?
Yeah.
All right, now is the very last chance for you to get your votes in. I'm gonna go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are calling it. Will Randall kicked some ass in this one, guys. Some Jack Nicholson ass kickery is what happened here. And yeah, he is the winner. So Will Randall is going on to the next round. He's going to fight against the Reverend Lowe. All right, we have 2 more fights for round 1, and then I tell you guys, they go so much faster. We're doing pretty good in time, though. All right, so our next one, 2 of my personal favorites, and ones I didn't have to do a whole lot of research. Well, the first one I didn't have to do a whole lot of research on. The second one I did. We have... we're going to have a teenager fight. Teenager fight!
Yeah.
Because teenagers scare the living shit out of me.
I do.
So we've got Oz from Buffy the Vampire Slayer versus Scott from Teen Wolf. Now, there's a couple different Teen Wolves we're including here. We're going to include Scott from the movie. His last name begins with an H. I want to say Harrison? I don't remember exactly. And then Scott McCall from the TV show. So if you're like, hey, this one's not a horror movie, the TV show is a straight up horror show. So I think it counts. But look how precious he is.
I think we should also put some comparable abilities of Teen Wolf 2 in there.
I think it's fine because here's the thing about Teen Wolves. They're good at sports.
Yeah, they are.
But we're going to get to that in just a second because first I want to talk to you guys about Oz. Oz is played by Seth Green. One of my favorite characters on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's just a super chill, cool dude. Reminds me a lot of Danny in that way. He's an angel. He's in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it continues on into the comics. We're going to use some of that information here today to tell you about this character. So Oz is a bipedal werewolf, though he can run around on all 4s. He eventually trains himself through a lot of Buddhist techniques, because he goes over to Tibet, to control his changes. He still finds that when he is provoked by like something greatly emotionally distressing, that he will change spur of the moment. But he is able to resist the pull of the full moon. And by the time we last saw him in the comics, he has made it to where he doesn't change at all. He has fully been able to suppress the wolf.
No, he's going to change for the sake of this battle.
Oz is great at playing guitar. He can fix amps in a van. He can use stakes. He's highly intelligent. He was recruited as one of the 2 most intelligent people in his high school. He can use stakes and a bow and arrow in human form and knives.
Kills vampires.
He's also survived a battle with Twilight, which if you don't know from the comics, Twilight is kind of one of the most OP villains they've ever had. It's like angel imbued with like the spirit of a god that can go into space and shit. So the fact that Oz survived being beaten up by him is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
His weaknesses are he can be provoked into changing into a wolf by emotional distress, and he has limited control in wolf form.
Like you said, he's a musician. He's a bass player for Dingoes Ate My Babies. He's pretty awesome.
He is radtastical. Checking out the chat, the wolf has turned and it's packing. Yes, the worm has turned and is packing an Uzi. I love that quote from Wolf. Hey people, Gory, Danny Tanner, how are you? We are great, Cal. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah. He's still Seth Green though. Seth Green's awesome, guys. All right, so next up, who do we have, Danny?
We have another teenage wolf, the Teen Wolf.
I'm going to just call him Scott because they're both named Scott, though they do have different last names. So this is Scott from the TV show. Scott McCall, he plays lacrosse.
I thought he looked more like Marty McFly.
He plays lacrosse. Michael J. Fox's plays basketball. And then his cousin, played by Jason Bateman, is a boxer.
So we're going to throw some boxing ability in there.
It really sucks when you're playing high school sports and the other team has a teen wolf. I'll tell you that much.
Man. They have a bloody teen wolf. Ooh, big old slam dunk.
You get a teen wolf and the game is over. All sports events, it's over once there's a teen wolf involved. But a lot of the abilities we're using here are going to come from the Teen Wolf TV show because that Scott is just a little bit more advanced.
We're going to include car surfing though, right? Because that's hard to do. I've tried to do it. It is not. Don't try that at home, kids. It is hard.
Absolutely. Anyone who can't do that is a dick nose.
Right?
All right. So he's a bipedal werewolf, and just like the other Scott, he looks pretty much like a human, but he's got like the sideburns and very wolfish facial features. But he moves like a wolf. He can jump really far. He's exceptionally strong. He has been a beta because he was bitten initially by the alpha werewolf, but then he becomes the alpha of his pack, which makes him stronger than other werewolves. He has full memory and control of what he is doing in wolf form. All of them do.
Very braggadocious.
And weaknesses. There's quite a few weaknesses. Wolfsbane can kill him. There's different kinds of Wolfsbane in the show, but to keep it simple, it can kill him, it can cause hallucinations, or it can sedate him, depending on the kind of Wolfsbane. It's kind of like kryptonite, where different colors do different things. But to keep it simple, Wolfsbane bad. Lithara vulpina, wolf lichen, is toxic to werewolves. Electricity at high levels can kill him, but low levels, werewolf hunters in this show use low levels to disable the healing ability of werewolves so that they can kill them. Because werewolves in this show and in these movies have exceptional healing ability. So they will electrocute them just enough so that they don't have that ability, and then they will kill them. However, enough hunters have gone after Scott that he actually has a higher tolerance than most to electricity.
Turn around and static shock them with a big old poof mane.
He has no powers during a lunar eclipse, but luckily this fight is not taking place during a lunar eclipse. And he has a lot of guilt. You know, a lot of friends and stuff have died, and that when that guilt's really eating at him, it can limit his abilities. It can limit his healing and his strength and such. And he also cannot cross mountain ash.
Yeah. He also has some guilt about picking the cool, popular girl over like his awesome friend who he should have just been into the whole time.
Styles?
Yeah.
All right, so Teen Wolf versus the other Teen Wolf, Oz, from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm going to put this into the chat before we start talking, if you don't mind.
I think it was just because of the...
Also, side note, Teen Wolf, the TV show, now has a movie out. So it's a little world building that's happening here. It also has a spin-off TV show that Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to be in. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
I was also going to star in a Teen Wolf movie with the nurse twins. The babysitter twins.
Sure you were, honey.
I know.
Sure you were.
It was just a picture.
You make an adorable Teen Wolf.
I was dressed as a Teen Wolf.
So, you guys know, and like I said, this isn't about what you like the most. You guys know I love Buffy above all things. However, I'm going to give this one to Scott from Teen Wolf, and I'll tell you why. What Oz is really tough, and he can survive a lot of things. However, a lot of his accomplishment has been in making it to where he doesn't turn into a werewolf. And so he doesn't really live in harmony with this wolf the way that Scott does. Scott has some bumps in the road. Sometimes things happen that his powers get diminished, like from guilt or various other things. But largely, Scott has learned how to live as a werewolf. He has learned to grow in the ranks, to become an alpha, to be responsible for his pack. He's very strong and exceptional. And yeah, they have a lot more weaknesses on that show, but they also have a lot more strengths.
Yeah, Oz is super durable, as the comics would show later. And I think it was mostly due to budget and what their effects could do. In the first couple of episodes as Oz, he's running around on all fours, and it looks really silly. He doesn't look very fast. He doesn't have that much skills. They get better later on with the effects of werewolves.
I thought initially they were good, and then they went down, and then they got good again, especially on Angel.
Yeah, I don't know. I just imprinted in my head as I remember seeing Seth Green trying to run around with all that fur, and it looked really silly.
Oh, dang, I have an Oz, too, but he's not here.
Oh,
I do have Oz. I know! I'm going to drop it. I do have Oz in a little lunchbox, though. There's Oz.
Yeah, him and Willow. I think if Scott was dating Willow, Oz might get mad enough to turn into a werewolf and attack him.
The thing is ultimately, Scott is a heroic character. He doesn't enjoy hurting other people. Scott has and both of them have gone against a number of opponents.
Yeah.
You know, Oz has gone against a true demon, but a lot of the opponents he's gone against are in human form. So using a crossbow, bow and arrow, stakes, that kind of thing.
And also, as a group, usually, I'm not sure about Scott because I haven't really seen the show much, but I know Oz is usually in a group of people fighting them, and he's not the heavy hitter himself. He's just kind of there for support most of the time.
Scott is often in a group, but he is the leader. He is the one he's gone against all kinds of demonic people, all kinds of creatures, hunters, and he's come out the other end. But yeah, largely Scott has learned how to use his being a werewolf as an asset to protect his people, to protect his pack, protect the people he cares about. Whereas Oz has mostly done it by suppressing that wolf. And that suppresses a lot of his abilities too.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it to Scott. I think, in this fight, he's not suppressing it. They're wolf forms, but Oz has less control of being in the wolf form. He's had control of not turning into a wolf, but as a wolf, he has less control, and I don't think he's quite as impressive.
And I think what I was going to say there a little while ago that I kind of forgot, but I'm now remembering, is Scott is constantly ready for a fight because he's always having other werewolves, hunters, ghosty, demony things against him. He is ready to fight all the time. He, in his world, is the Buffy. It's his responsibility to take care of everybody. He has to be the one, and that's why he carries so much guilt, because it's on him. He's the boss.
Yeah.
Whereas Oz is a bit player in his universe. He has helped out here and there, but he is very zen. He does not want to fight. He is a lover, not a fighter. He has a lot of fighting skills. He has been a great asset in a number of battles, but it's not on Oz to save the world. Oz ultimately retired to Tibet, where he does a lot of meditation. He got married and he has a baby, and that is his happy ending. Whereas Scott still is fighting. He will continue to fight because in his world, he is the hero. He is the Buffy.
I want to point out, though, it is very impressive that Oz managed to get a happy ending in the Buffyverse.
Oh,
that is very hard to
nobody
do.
gets that.
Very, very few people get that. So, just want to point that out.
So, like I said, I love Buffy the most, but again, it's about who would win, and I think Scott would win.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Scott.
All right, I'm going to check in with the chat, and this is your last chance to get your votes in.
I even went to Crypticon one time, cosplaying as Oz. I think it's awesome. But
yeah.
I
was Willow.
Giving it to Scott.
I have got the yawn.
And then you'll box him. Bam, bam.
Sorry, I need to get more sleep. Sorry, guys. 8-in-a-roll, a Teen Wolf can't play. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Tyler Posey? We're talking about Tyler Posey, Michael J. Fox, and Jason Bateman. Just a collaboration of the
Your
three.
Teen Wolf.
I'm voting for Tyler Posey, Teen Wolf. That is an awesome decision. Danny, did you know Walter Vanasiek from Channel Awesome does look like Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf? I did not know that. Did you know
Channel
that?
Awesome.
That's like,
not 100% familiar with Walter, but I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I think so.
That's cool.
I think I know who you're talking about from Channel Awesome.
We're going to call it, and it looks like Scott is the winner?
Sorry,
I'm
Mom.
excited to check out this new movie because there's a lot of characters who died on the show. LOLZ and I were pretty big into this show for a while there. A lot of characters who died, and I know they came back for the movie. I don't remember if the movie's been released out yet or not, but I'm excited to check it out.
I never actually marathoned the show. I saw like a little bit here and there, mostly because you guys were watching.
Yeah, it's a good show though. All right, we have our final fight, the main event, guys. This is the main event. Give me a let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to hairball.
Furball combat. All right, we've got two pretty big hitters here. We've got Velkin Valerius from the 2004? Yeah, 4 movie Van Helsing against Lawrence Talbot, the Wolfman. That's from all the Universal movies. That is Lawrence Talbot from the remake that had Benicio del Toro. So let's break it down for you. So Velkin. Velkin is an interesting character. He is a very cursed character. Yeah. He is the brother of our main protagonist, well, our main female protagonist in the movie, Kate Beckinsale's character. And it's really sad. He died trying to protect people. It became a werewolf. And the werewolf that made him survived a massive fall. So these are tough werewolves.
Oh, yeah.
But essentially, I think I need caffeine. I need like a rock star or something.
Oh, I think one of these is a coffee beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that have caffeine in it?
Coffee pumpkin ale.
Is there caffeine in it? Find out for me. Anyway, so unfortunately, Velkin has absolutely no control in his werewolf form, and Count Dracula uses that to his advantage. Because Velkin cannot control himself and he has no sense of self, Count Dracula is kind of able to use that glamour ability to make Velkin eliminate his enemies.
Yeah, there's coffee in it.
Sweet, dude. Open that puppy up. Coffee and beer at the same time?
Yeah, like Buzz Beer on Drew Carey Show.
So he is a bipedal werewolf. These werewolves can survive massive falls. Also, Velkin in human form is a skilled marksman. Yeah. But here's something interesting. If the full moon is obscured by clouds or anything, he will turn back into a human, like in the middle of a fight.
It has to be on him.
It has to be on him at all times. If it's covered by clouds, trees, what have you, Velkin will become a human again. His weaknesses, silver. He's also he's kind of Dracula's bitch, which really sucks. He has no control over himself in wolf form, and that leaves him to be very vulnerable to Dracula.
Dracula has control over him.
Yeah, but look at this werewolf. I mean, he's massive. Have you guys ever seen that gif of Velkin just jumping from like freaking 3 stories up, and you're jumping 3 stories up into the air? This is an extremely what's the word I'm looking for? Agile werewolf.
And pretty shredded. I do want to point out that you forgot his worst curse of all, though. Bad CGI.
It really is true. Mr. Flickster wants to know if I can turn him into a werewolf. I'm a witch, not a werewolf. But I can refer to you to some people I know. I think this movie is gonna suck. And he is going against the one, the only Lawrence Talbot. A character so iconic that whenever you watch a werewolf movie, there's always a character with the name Talbot. Yeah.
Now this includes the remake, but also the old iconic
played by Lon Chaney Jr.
Wolfman. Exactly. Strength, accelerated healing. He's a bipedal wolfman. He is one of the more like Wolfcop humanoid wolves. Can be resurrected by the full moon.
Here, you finish this one. I'm gonna drink my coffee one.
Basically immortal because he's come back even from death.
Well, and that's the thing. He is killed. His father kills him by beating him with a silver cane in the first one. Yeah. But I'm including all the Universal ones here. His body underneath the full moon comes back, and the true curse of being Lawrence Talbot is he realizes he can't die. He's been devoured by quicksand. He's been drowned. So many ways he's been killed, and they don't always show it like they do the first time he comes back, but Lawrence Talbot will always come back. It's just a matter of time. However, to get to a KO,
killing him.
It takes days, nights, you know.
KO counts.
It can take months, years even for him to come back.
Yeah.
So just getting him to a KO will be enough for this fight.
I will.
Lawrence has exceptional ability to heal. He's a bipedal wolf. He, like I said, can be resurrected by the full moon. His weaknesses are the classic ones, silver, and he has 0 memory or control as a wolf. So he is capable of doing things that he would never do as a human.
In the original movie, though, later on, he does kind of seem to have some control. Like in the sequel.
Towards the end of it. Yeah, a little bit.
And then, like, even the remake, towards the end of the remake.
But even in the originals, like Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, he knows that that is a character that he is fighting.
Yeah.
But he would still probably attack somebody he cared about.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, he believes, and it's something that's echoed in American Wolf in London, that he can only be killed by somebody who loves him. Yeah. Because there's just enough of who he is left to maybe hesitate.
And that's why in American London, when David did all those cops, like there were about 30 of them with rifles, did they kill him? Or was it Beauty who killed the beast?
Maybe. I mean, she does tell him that she loves him right before he's shot. I think she's trying to get through to him. Yeah. So this is a pretty tough one. I'm going to put the vote in the chat, but why don't you start telling me who you think is going to win this one?
Well, if we were just going by the original movie, I would definitely say that the one from Van Helsing would annihilate him because, I mean, if he could be beat to death with a cane, then that would happen. But if we're counting the remake and some of the other like sequels where it is actually Lawrence Talbot as the Wolfman, because they've even had ones like Hammer's done and stuff too.
And we don't know that one can't be resurrected too. I mean,
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Van Helsing is one movie.
Yeah.
Really cool mashup of all our classic monsters. It's a good underrated film. Bad CGI, like you said, but good story.
Where the newest one, for the most part, had good CGI of the Wolfman. Most of it. There was some iffy parts, especially Dennis Hopper's
not Dennis Hopper,
or,
Anthony
Hopkins' is very
his
chest
like old man chest, yeah.
Old man werewolf, there you go, once again, but he's not on the fight. But yeah, some of that CGI was dodgy too, but overall, it had better CGI than Van Helsing did. And he is a burly, big, strong beast in that too, who's jumping from building to building, especially when they're trying to operate on him and like he gets away.
You include that remake, and Lawrence is doing all of the parkour that Velkin is doing.
Exactly. So I think I am leaning towards Lawrence because of that remake. As much as the remake, I kind of like it, I kind of don't like it for a lot of reasons.
There are some beautiful scenes in there. I love the scene where they take him to like a psych ward.
Yeah, exactly. And when he escapes he's
Benicio del Toro
jumping
does a
around the
fantastic
city
job.
and stuff. I think overall I do like that, and especially it has.
Emily
much
Blunt
as I
does a
love
fantastic
the old
job,
original,
too.
I think it has a better ending than the original did because.
No, their iconic scene they stole from Leprechaun. Watch my review on that for more.
I agree. But yeah, I'm going with Lawrence, the OG.
I'm going to say Velkin's at a disadvantage here because we only have one movie to draw from. But Lawrence, you know, we have so many movies. I mean, even outside of just Universal and the remake, we have so many movies to draw from. And I do feel bad about that. I am going to assume for the sake of doubt that Velkin maybe can be resurrected too. But ultimately, it's kind of a blessing when he's killed because he can finally rest in peace, which is what his sister wants for him. He is a good man who is made to be the servant of evil, which sucks. Whereas Lawrence, it's so horrible. He just wants to die. There are so many movies where that's all he wants. And I also want to point out Lawrence Talbot in the original Universal movies was the only character played by the same person the whole way through. In the Universal movies, only Lon Chaney Jr. played him, whereas multiple characters played Dracula, the Invisible Man, Frankenstein, all the other characters. But
some even swapped.
Lon Chaney Jr. was so passionate about the character, he stuck with it, and it was so personal for him too. To give you a little fun facts while you're making your decisions here, his father is Lon Chaney, who was the man of 1,000 Faces, who was Phantom of the Opera, but his father forbid him from acting, and he wasn't actually able to even audition until his father passed away. And so Wolfman was extremely personal for him because Lawrence Talbot was somebody who also had this great legacy and inheritance, but he was kind of denied it by his father.
It is very true to form of the character and the actor.
Yeah, he really related to this part and the character's relationship with his father. Like, he loved him so much, but his father also denied him his legacy, his inheritance.
Like in the Wolfman. And that I think is the strongest part of the original Wolfman and stuff, is just having that connection. I feel like Dracula, they're both amazing movies, but the ending just kind of didn't stick the landing perfectly because it was a little off. Just like the puppet looks silly when it's getting hit with the cane.
But it's not about the movies, and ultimately I will say these are two good men who are cursed, and it's really, really unfortunate. However, Lawrence Talbot, I mean, I've seen him in everything from Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein to the Wolfman versus, meets Frankenstein, to the remake, and he is the bigger, scarier monster. I think he does look more human in a lot of ways. But I feel like he can do everything Velkin can do. But he has like a lot of the mannerisms of a man.
Yeah.
He can hide behind the trees. He can stalk in ways that Velkin just can't, because Velkin is a little more animal. Velkin is also very much, he's almost a zombie. He's a servant. Yeah. Which it basically, you're more dealing with Dracula in this movie.
And I also want to say that the Wolfman took it to Frankenstein in the finals of the actual Monster Brawl tournament. So that is Lawrence.
Well,
that is Lawrence.
The other thing is Dracula's not only using him as a servant, he actually uses his venom from his fangs to make like Dracula babies.
Yeah, that's weird.
That movie gets weird, guys.
Yeah, it does.
It's a good movie though. Do not take that as a criticism. I think it's a great movie.
I like it.
But I do feel bad that we have a lot more to go on with Lawrence. But I have seen Lawrence survive things that are impossible. Survive, being in a crumbling castle. Survive quicksand. Survive drowning. Survive being beaten to death. He has all the same vulnerabilities as Velkin, but he has come back from them. And not even just getting to KO, like he has been able to fight back through these kind of things. So I'm going to give it to Lawrence Talbot.
Yeah, and that first movie, like I said, if that was the only movie we were going for him, then I would not go with him. But he gets stronger like almost every time.
He does.
I don't think being beat with a cane would take him out anymore. I think, like Doomsday from Superman, like he kind of becomes immune to certain ways of dying, and you have to find harder and more impressive ways to kill him.
It's hard just to kick his ass, and all Lawrence wants is to die.
Yeah.
And even just getting another monster to kick his ass is hard, because he is of the Universal monsters, he's one of the strongest.
So I'm going with the OG here.
Me too.
The remake wasn't maybe the best for a lot of reasons, but it showed me that an old dog could learn new tricks.
I think we had some newly emerging CGI, but it was a great story, great acting, and it's beautiful visuals.
Yes, and like I said, it taught me that an old dog can learn new
and
tricks.
it's 18 years old now. It's as old as our son. All right, so I'm going to check in with the chat, and then we are going to call the votes. So now is the time to get your votes in. If you're on the fence, get those in real quick. Mr. Flickster, my buddy, says, Velkin has one of the coolest werewolf transformations, though. That is entirely true. Absolutely. Unfortunately, transformation isn't necessarily going to help you in a fight.
Yeah.
The Wolfman remake is surprisingly well made. I agree. For me, I remember the biggest disappointment was kind of that third act. That's what kept it from being a great movie, but it's 100% a good movie. It's got so much atmosphere, and it does make you understand why the Wolfman is a scary character in ways that maybe you didn't get from the Universal ones, which were, they're older. They were made in the 40s.
They had budget and ability problems.
But I've always thought of Lawrence Talbot as just a wonderful, tragic character.
I agree. And that's who I'm going with.
Yeah. Talbot definitely looks less intimidating, but the fact that he can't die, I don't know. I think
he can be KO'd, but it gets harder every time.
In wolf form, maybe Lawrence Talbot doesn't look as scary, but this is somebody who's like flat out trying to die and he can't. Mm-hmm. He can't even get his ass kicked properly. There's whole movies about people trying to kick his ass. Even Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, he's pretty much the major character in this. Dracula and him. Frankenstein's kind of more of a background character. Frankenstein
shows up at the very end.
Is the puppet of Dracula in that one. Frankenstein's not the major character, but largely Lawrence Talbot is teaming up with Abbott and Costello, and then you have Dracula as the main antagonist. Which, by the way, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Also one of my son's favorite comedies. We love that one. Velkin has ferocity on his side. Very good point, Chris. Very good point. Talbot is the OG. He can't die. He wins. Great point there, Talbot. Torchbearer. By the way, Torchbearer, I always call you Torchbearer. If there's something you'd rather me call you, let me know. Democrat. Nice to see a new name in the Gory hole here. We're all weirdos in the Gory hole. So
Cool
if you're lurking, say hello. Gory B, could you talk to the Child's Play cast director about putting all the buddies from Mark Hamill's movie in the Child's Play series with the good guys and have Brad Dourif voice them too? I wish I knew Don Mancini because I'm a massive fan.
You know Fiona Dourif?
I have met Fiona Dourif and Christina Elise, and they are both very, very sweet. Who knows though? Maybe next Crypticon I'll get lucky and I'll meet him. If I ever do that, I'll remember your suggestion and I will pass it on for sure. Okay, I'm going to call it, and it looks like Lawrence Talbot is the winner. And that's it, guys. That's round one.
Okay.
Round one's hard. Round one is hard. Well done, my love. Well done. Will you show them our Lawrence Talbot that you got me?
He's got a little bear trap in his foot. He don't care. OG Wolfman don't give a shit.
All right, so we have got round one done, guys. It moves a lot faster from here. A lot faster. Right, Danny?
Usually.
We got 2 more rounds. So, well, actually, we have this round, and then we have one more round, and then it's your winner. You know what? I know horror movies, not math. Just trust me, it's gonna be over.
Tournament. Move on to this.
All right.
Quarterfinals.
Who do we got? Who do we got in our quarterfinals?
We've got David from American Werewolf in London versus Lowe from Wolfcop.
He's a wolf cop. Cop. He's a wolf cop. Cop. Again, I'm going to tell you guys, just a reminder, I know you guys know, but I can't stress this enough. It's not about which movie you like the best. American Werewolf in London is arguably maybe in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Not just even horror. I love that movie. It's deeply personal to me. It's one of the first movies I watched as a child. However, in this fight, I'm tempted to say that Wolfcop is going to win, and I'll tell you why.
Because David was killed by cops.
David was killed by cops. And Wolfcop has the full ability to know who he is, to drive a car, to load a gun, to shoot. So if David Kessler, despite how badass he is, I think he is the stronger werewolf.
Oh, definitely.
If he can be killed by bullets, then I think Wolfcop can kill him.
I'm going to give it to Lowe, too, for that reason alone. I do think, however, David was killed by, about 30 cops that shot him all
He
at
wasn't
once.
killed by 30. He was killed by, 5 cops. They're in an alleyway. They're in an alleyway. Even if there were more cops than that, only, 5 of them would be able to get vantage point to shoot.
They were, on their knees, and one's above them and everything. And there was ones behind them, too, ready to shoot if he got by them. The point is...
And the fish you caught was this big, right?
The point is, a shitload of cops shot him with a bunch of rifles. Now, I'm still giving it to Lowe because he doesn't always use a handgun or a rifle or a shotgun. He's upgraded. He could have bigger weapons.
He thinks on his feet.
He will go into the police station and he'll get the goddamn grenade launcher if he needs to. So I am giving it to Lowe. He has this long-range ability that will really help him. I do think if David pinned him to the ground, it would be over for Lowe. But I think Lowe, overall, if they fought 100 times, would win more than he would lose.
I mean, honestly, Lowe Guru is the best parts of a werewolf and a police officer in one. He's got all those weapon expertise, and he's strong like a werewolf, whereas David is sadly a victim of a curse. Mm-hmm. He is not somebody who wants to be killing people. He is just killing people mindlessly like an animal. Yeah. But he is an animal with vulnerabilities. He could be decapitated. He could be shot.
Set on fire.
And Lowe Guru knows exactly who he is as a werewolf. He would know, I need to kill this David Kessler guy because he's killing a lot of people in London. He would load up his gun and shoot him. Yeah. I don't think that hitting him with a car would work because David has been hit by a car multiple times.
Might slow him down slightly, but...
But if a bullet is all it takes to kill David Kessler, a regular bullet, Lowe Guru's got this.
Like I said, a bunch of bullets kill David, but Lowe has access to guns who can shoot a bunch of bullets, even if it's just himself. He also could call for backup, as we've said. I'm not saying that would happen in this fight particularly, but whatever. Lowe would know. I think he would know enough to look at David and be like, I'm keeping my distance from that thing. That is a big, bulking beast. I'm going to shoot it from afar.
It's the same thing as a hunter taking down an animal. You
hunter
know?
taking down a big old grizzly bear.
A bear is scary, but the fact that we are able to use weapons and hunt down a bear, I mean, hand to hand, yes, a bear can kill an average human. But a human being that is able to use a rifle efficiently can easily take down a bear.
Plus, Lowe isn't a human being. He has wolf strength and speed and fastness and stuff. He has more abilities than a human.
He does.
He could at least dodge and dodge out of the way.
And Lowe has kicked witch ass. Lowe has kicked like weird like.
He's tapped some werecat ass.
Yeah. He's also really good at all the Teen Wolfie stuff. He's great at hockey.
Yeah, so I think...
He loves them liquor donuts.
Yeah, I think he would see that and go, that's a big bitch, and he would stay far away and shoot it dead.
Yeah, I feel really bad because David is, of the two characters, David's the one who has my heart, but Luger is going to win this fight. Unfortunately, he needs to be taken down.
I think, like I said, if you pinned him, I think it'd be over for Lowe, but I just think the odds are Lowe would win.
If somehow David is able to get the gun away from him, like they're in a hand-to-hand brawl, the gun goes flying, yes, David is going to win. But I don't think that's going to happen because guns can be used at long range.
Exactly.
And I
he
think
has the odds.
Lowe knows what he's going into, you know? He knows there's a werewolf. He knows what werewolves
He'd be able to smell him
do.
coming. Lowe has senses too. He has the werewolf senses. He could smell a werewolf from far away and know to shoot it.
Absolutely.
He would know. Like I said, he also has werewolf abilities. He could dodge faster than a human.
He can.
Now, I think David could take his head off, but...
multiple opponents and stuff, too. A whole cult of, like, witches. Who did he fight in the second one?
Weird, like, alien people,
like
pod people type things that they were going on against. And like I said, he, like, hooked up with a werecat and that. I just think Lowe will win more times than he would lose if they fought a bunch of times.
Lowe also has kind of that Ash Williams luck on his side.
He does.
Even though he is an alcoholic and he's not always the smartest guy, he always lands on his feet. And the thing is, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that Lowe is still Lowe as a wolf. The wolf and the man are the same thing.
Exactly.
Whereas David, they are completely different things. There's a very innocent man and a very dangerous beast.
If Lowe had to retreat in his car to go get a bigger gun, he would come back with a bigger gun.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it would really matter. I think David could tank a handgun bullet. I think a few of them. But Lowe has access. He has a whole police station full of big-ass weapons. Exactly. He has SWAT team access of weapons. He can come back and...
He has access to anything in the police station.
Exactly.
He is a cop.
I know. His chief knows that he's a werewolf, too, so... covers for him sometimes.
All right, I'm gonna check in with this chat here.
I'm giving it to Lowe.
Too bad we can't add Werewolf by Night now that the trailer is up. You know what? Like I said, there's going to be a season 2 of Fight Night. It's been a really fun show. We definitely want to do this again, so definitely we'll add it when the movie comes out. Pass the message to them. You got it, Demakra. Mummy, being fluffy does not win fights. Okay. There's that comedian who's fluffy. Being fluffy doesn't win you a fight.
That's a fight I want to see. I want to see Fluffy the comedian versus the anime Luffy.
Yeah. It's about who's going to kick ass. And Mommy, I know you love David. I love David. But in this instance, it's not which movie's better. It's which character's going to win in a fight. It's going to be Lowe.
I say Wolfcop's a better beer and pizza movie with friends, but obviously American Werewolf is perfection.
Are you going to vote? Because I got to call the vote.
Hold on. Let me vote.
So, and David has a girlfriend. You know what? Lou Garou does too, and she's a werecat. Beavis and Butthead werewolf.
It kind of has like
they're not very good.
He has a sexual tension with his police chief too. She's like, she's pretty badass herself.
You gonna vote?
Yeah, I'm voting. Okay, I did.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And this was a close one, guys. 47-53. But the winner is Lou Garou. And I really appreciate that because I know you guys are big American Werewolf London fans. The fact that you guys are being fair and you're looking at this as a fight.
Movie.
It is a 5-star movie. And I love Wolfcop, but it's not a 5-star movie.
3.5, 4-star movie.
But yeah, you guys understand what the assignment is here, and I really appreciate that.
Like I said, I think if they fought 100 times, David would get some victories in there. He would, just pounce on him and get the advantage sometimes. But I don't think it would be enough where I can vote for him. I think Lou would win more times than he would lose.
This next one, Danny, I'm scared. And so we have Alcide, the man with the abs. Alcide versus our girl Joni, the girl with the finger from Cursed.
Is she gonna finger him?
Wait, what?
Yeah, she'll flip him off.
Don't be filthy, honey. My mom watches this show.
She's gonna give him the finger, is what I meant to say.
All right. So I'm going to put the vote in because, like I said, these second rounds go really, really fast. All right. We got Alcide versus Joni from Cursed.
Well, what
are you thinking?
Once again, like Stu, I think she's a little stronger and bigger. However, unlike Stu, she's in full control. She can leap in all kinds of crazy ass
But she's
shit.
going against Alcide.
I know, but he fought Stu last time. So I'm saying last time I thought Stu was a little bigger and stronger as a werewolf. But unlike him, she's in full control. She can leap up buildings and shit. She's also a killer, and a manipulator, and has all that while in wolf form. Alcide was killed by a couple of humans.
Here's the thing, like when you look at Alcide the man and you look at Joni,
She was killed by a couple of humans too, I guess. So.
And you look at Joni, you think this is no contest.
No, she was killed by a whole bunch of police. Never mind.
Honey.
Sorry, I had to finish.
When you look at Alcide the man versus Joni the human, you think it's a no contest because he's ripped. But here's the thing: she has a massive advantage over him. She has full memory as a werewolf. As a werewolf, she's also able to do things that Alcide can't do. She can leap really, really high up into the air. She is exceptionally strong. He is too, but he is just, he looks like just a regular wolf. A bigger, stronger wolf, but a regular wolf. This chick's a full-on monster. They were both taken out by regular humans.
Alcide would probably fight her in his human form. He does have strength and ability. The humans,
they're fighting in their werewolf form. Everyone is. The humans in Cursed knew what they were up against.
I want to point out, though, Alcide does most of his fighting on True Blood as his human form. He's still stronger,
but this
he's still
is a werewolf fight.
Well, he should have lost the other fight then, because he's definitely going to lose this one. He's just a little wolf in that form. He's not. He's actually stronger and more effective as a killer in his human form.
Potentially, I mean, he is still an alpha.
He fights vampires, but he fights them in his human form. Even if he fights other werewolves, they usually fight in human form. Like, they just usually kind of just turn into wolves because it's like more of a parlor trick, if anything, on that show.
Well, there's also like the books and stuff and other seasons that you haven't seen
I
to
don't
consider.
know about the books, but either way, he was shot to death by 2 human vigilantes. She was shot to death by a bunch of human cops.
I will say Alcide does not have the agility that Joni does. No. He is like a regular wolf, which is very strong and very scary, but he doesn't have the maneuverability that Joni does. He cannot jump 2 stories up into the air. I don't think he's as strong as she is in werewolf form. No. I don't think he has the enhanced abilities as like healing as much as she does. They both do, but I think she does more. Yeah. And she is fully aware of who she is, and she's a serial killer.
Yeah. Like I said, he's aware of who he is too, because he always fights in his human form. His human form has powers. He is powerful. He's stronger, faster, and quicker than a normal human. He just.
Mommy says Alcide's the cute one. Danny, how does that factor?
He does have the abs. Like, they are sexy. But yeah, Joni's, look at her. She's pretty hot.
But I don't think being cute wins you a fight, does it?
No.
Plus, look at Joni. Look how cute she is. She's adorable.
No. She's burly as fuck.
Gory is the cute one. Now it's dark. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you.
She is the cute one.
Joni is the cute one. Everyone's arguing on who the cute one is. I feel like this is like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I'm the cute one.
Oh, it's Elizabeth.
That's so mean, but true.
Sorry, they look kind of weird. I don't hate them. They just look weird.
So we're tied up in the chat. Who are you voting for?
I'm going with Joni. Like I said, she can jump 3 stories basically.
She's conniving.
I do think he knows how to fight a lot, but he was killed by 2 humans with guns. Where she was
granted, like you said, like he kind of lost his way.
He never completely threw away his moral value of like being a good person, but he became a very corrupt person that kind of let his pack down.
I agree.
Or Joni, she's trying to impress someone who turned her.
This is such a weird one because if you saw them side by side, I think you would instantly see Alcide.
But if you see them in their wolf forms, he's a little wolf and she's a giant werewolf. When you see them in wolf
form and when you know their history, I think Joni has the edge. So I'm voting for Joni.
I'm going to give it to Joni, but...
All right, and I don't have any more comments in the chat.
Especially if he has to fight in
Have you voted?
Form. That's not how he normally fights.
4, 3, 2, and 1. We are calling it, and it is Joni. Good for her. I'm glad we have a lady who's making it to the finals here. The semifinals.
It's also when you just kind of glance on paper, I didn't really think of her going as far as she did. But when we start talking about
we have had some surprising ones in the past here. Old Dude Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a joke, but no, Old Dude Vampire won the card. The most surprising one was Leprechaun, then, who won the slasher one. Like, I didn't think Leprechaun was going to take it home, but he did. He did. And great reasoning, too. It's just when you initially think of it, you don't lean that way. But when you get into the details, you're like, no, he has a shot.
Watch out, Chachi. Joni's coming for you.
All right. We are halfway through round 2. Now, who do we have, Danny?
We got the Reverend Lowe from Silver Bullet. The one-eyed bastard, the hairy church-goer Reverend dude, the man of the cloth, man of the fur, and he's up against that sexy beast, Will Randall, pure wolf.
All right, let's get that poll up, because like I said, things just move so much faster in round 2. We have Reverend Lowe versus Will Randall. Here we go. All right, Danny, who are you voting for?
I'm going with Will. I'm going with Will Randall. He beat Ted, and honestly, I think Ted would have taken out the Reverend. As I said earlier from late phases and Silver Bullet, this is the worst of the worst. That was who it was, and I barely gave it to the Reverend on that one.
Mean.
I think he was killed by a child in a wheelchair. I don't think Will would be taken out by a kid with a gun in a wheelchair.
That's a very good point.
I don't think Will would be taken out that way. I think also if Will can take out Ted, who I think is a more intimidating looking wolf and like physically, he can take out Reverend Lowe. I think Ted, I don't know if Ted, the person, is as scary as Reverend Lowe. I think Reverend Lowe is a scarier person.
He is a scary person.
But I think Ted was a scarier werewolf physically. Like more strong, bigger, a little more just vicious with teeth and everything. So I think if he could take out him, I'm going to say he can take out Reverend Lowe.
That's a really good point. I was initially leaning towards Reverend Lowe. I need to think about this. So let's see. Reverend Lowe's a bipedal werewolf, silver, no memory. And Will has no memory either.
Still a good wolf and a highly intelligent one.
Yeah, I think you convinced me. I think I'm going to go with Will Randall on this one. Just because Will Randall is, he doesn't entirely know who he is, but his nature is true.
Still himself, just in a wolf body with without the human memories, but he's still him. He's still him. He's still who he is.
Reverend Lowe was taken out by a kid in a wheelchair, but yeah, I feel like he's just gonna mess up more. It's pretty close though, guys. Honestly, I can see this going either way.
There's no wrong answers. Who you guys vote for? I just want to point that out.
I'm voting for Will Randall. Have you voted?
Yeah, I just voted.
Okay, Alcide is the cute one. Oh, that Grandpa Munster. Grandpa Munster mopped it up last week, guys. He is a vampire. Mommy, I highly recommend checking out Rob Zombie's The Munsters. We saw a screener of it, but it is coming out on Netflix, I think on the 27th. It's a really good one.
Yeah, and you can check out our live review of it on my channel.
Absolutely. Definitely check out my husband's channel here, Horror Addicts. YouTube.com/Horror Addicts TV. I am one of the horror addicts. Yes. You'll see me over there too.
So get our initial thoughts. The live reviews are a little less in depth, like as I do real reviews, like Gory does on her channel as well. But it's our initial thoughts. It's like, hey, we just saw this. Yeah. It's brand new. This is what we think.
So, those are always subject to change because I think your initial thoughts, it could be based on the theater experience. It could be based on, we watched that as a screener at home. Like, what kind of day you were having. First thoughts are always
tricky, but that's my point. I don't go in so depth with them. I don't do all the fun jokes added into them. They're just live reviews. They're like, hey, we saw this. Here's what we think, and
Absolutely.
they're fun. Gory usually has great opinions on them. People in the chat usually tell us their opinions on them if they've seen them too.
They are a lot of fun. All right, I'm gonna call it, and it looks like you called it very well, love. Will Randall has won, and Will Randall is going on to the semifinals.
Woof.
Can I get a woof woof?
Woof woof. Can I get a meow?
Meow.
Pfeiffer.
Ow.
Cat woman.
Wow.
She's been a cat and a wolf.
Ow.
And she was the wasp, the original wasp, huh? She was the original wasp.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
She got like stuck there with all the.
She got stuck in like the super macro.
With all the water bears.
Hard to
Pulled
be
her
for
out.
yawning. All right, we have one more to get to the semifinals. We have Scott from Teen Wolf. Scott from Teen Wolf versus Lawrence the Wolfman. They are both very wolfman-y. All right, let me get this poll up in the chat. I'm just going to put Teen Wolf versus Wolfman.
Teenagers scare the living hell out of me, or whatever, but I still think a teen is no match for a man.
Here's the thing. Lawrence Talbot has limited control as a werewolf.
That is true.
Scott, especially the TV show one, he has full control over who he is. He is an alpha werewolf. He is stronger than regular werewolves. On top of that, like he has just learned how to be more tolerant to things like electricity and stuff, things that have KO'd Lawrence Talbot.
That is something to think about. I think, from what especially in the remake, I think Lawrence is a lot bigger and stronger. Just because that remake, he is a big, burly beast who's jumping from building to building.
Scott has taken down creatures a lot
I'm
bigger
gonna
than
have
him.
to take your opinion. Like I said, I haven't really seen the show that much, so I don't really know what his abilities are there. He has full control pretty much even in the other ones. He just lets fame go to his head.
He has like this babyface underdog thing, like to put it in wrestling terms.
Okay.
You know, like kind of like Daniel
Brian
Bryanson thing, Daniel Bryanson thing, where like he is smaller, he's younger, but he's smarter, he's craftier, he's survived more, he's the alpha. I think he's gonna win.
Now, based on what I know, I'm going toward Lawrence, but you are convincing me. I'm gonna think about this.
And Lawrence is cursed. He wants to die.
Just somebody kill me.
Scott has turned this curse into a blessing. He's turned it into something that he can use to protect his pack, which has become an asset to him. He was initially this asthmatic kid who didn't want this to happen to him. He just wanted to play lacrosse. He was kind of a dork in school.
Asthma, you say? Maybe he was the real killer of late phases.
And now he is this guy who is, you know, is the hero of his universe. He has protected his pack. He has, you know, continued to go on from season to season, even to a movie.
Okay.
He was bitten by an alpha, but even though he was this kid who didn't know what was going on, he was a freshman in high school. He was, you know, him and his buddy Styles are trying to figure this all out. He becomes the alpha. He gets those leadership skills that he needs to persevere and to protect those closest to him.
Yeah. I don't think Lawrence has ever been in a pack.
And the guy, I got to show you the guy he takes down to become the alpha. He's a pretty big guy. This guy here, he has to take him down to become the alpha. So I'm going to try to find a better picture of him. Yeah. This guy. He kicks that guy's ass.
What's the guy's wolf form look like, though?
They're basically like, they're very humanoid looking.
Well, I mean, he's kind of humanoid even in the movies.
It's
just
comparable
really
to the Wolfman, where they have a very humanoid body, but they get bigger They get the sideburns. Their face changes.
Yeah.
They're able to do a lot more.
Kind of gets that vampire brow from Buffy.
But yeah, he kicks that guy's ass 4 ways to Sunday.
For me, it's kind of a flip of the coin. But you've done a lot to convince me. I didn't think you, like, more than I thought. Like, I really thought it was going to be kind of open shut.
I am voting for the Teen Wolf. I feel like Scott is fully aware of who he is, what he's doing, and he has learned who his opponents are. He's fought demons, witches, hunters. He's learned to be immune to things that keep coming for him. Yeah. Whereas Lawrence Talbot just wants to die. He wants something to kill him. He gets KO'd. He dies a lot. He just comes back. Yeah. But Scott has learned to turn his weaknesses into assets to overcome them. He has died twice and come back himself, but he won't die the same way again. Once he died intentionally through our ritual, trying to stop this big bad of that season.
Yeah, though I do want to point out, I think that Lawrence doesn't die the same way twice usually either.
That's true.
He does kind of like get a little stronger each time, but I don't know. It sounds like it's pretty
But
close.
Lawrence doesn't have that fighter instinct that Scott has. Lawrence wants to die. He does not want to fight. He just wants to die. Yeah. Scott will fight until his last breath because he knows he has things to live for. He has family, people that he loves that he needs to protect.
Yeah. Though Lawrence never kills himself when he's human. Like, he has the ability, like, he wants to, but he doesn't do it.
Lawrence believes that somebody who loves him has to do it. Yeah,
I guess so.
Even though it doesn't often happen.
Even in the Monster Squad, it never officially says the name Lawrence, but it's kind of implied since it's Universal Monsters that it's kind of him. He's like, shoot me! Like, just kill me.
Zigma wants to do either of them have a cool tail. Scott absolutely does not have a tail, and neither does the Wolfman. The Wolfman has a hairy chest. Scott has wicked sideburns.
Yeah, even in the remake, I don't remember a CGI tail ever being there. It's kind of like the original Ralph from Rampage. He doesn't have a tail, but then the new Ralph did have a tail.
I feel like being aware of what you're doing, because it's like, you can do PCP or some horrible drug that can make you do crazy things that humans can't do. Like
bath salts,
lift a car, eat somebody's face off.
Take 5
but
bullets
the thing
and
is,
still keep coming.
you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You can be so distracted by anything that happens because you don't know what you're doing. Whereas somebody like Scott has all that strength, knows exactly what he's doing. He can calculate. He can plan. He can maneuver.
I don't think Talbot ever gets great at planning, but he does become more aware throughout his life. We have to kind of go by his peak. And at his peak, I think he does have more awareness, but he's still not much of a planner. I definitely would say that.
He never has that alpha energy that Scott has.
He's never been in a pack, so I guess he's an alpha of 1. Just to be fair.
He's a lone wolf.
He kills his dad, who's a werewolf, so he alphas over him.
Well, in the remake, he's a werewolf.
Exactly. He alphas over his dad in the remake, so that's the only thing I really ever could compare him to.
Who are you voting for?
I already voted.
Who'd you vote for?
I voted for Lawrence.
Dick, move.
I voted before you convinced me. Now I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have voted Teen Wolf.
So Teen Wolf has 40%, Wolfman has 60%. You regret that?
One vote wouldn't have changed that. It would still be him winning.
Only 15 votes, though.
That's more than 2 votes.
All right, I'm calling it. Unfortunately, I disagree, guys. But it looks like you voted, and the Wolfman, Lawrence Talbot, is the winner.
I don't completely disagree, but I feel like Gory has convinced me that it is very evenly matched.
Well, I'm glad I at least got you to consider the possibility.
Definitely. I think at that point I would have kind of been a flip of the coin. I'm not sure who would win. I was pretty sure when I voted, and now you made me think I don't know really.
Canadian Jason's in the chat. He says Teen Wolf has a free spirit when it comes to steroids. Steroids change lives.
Sure.
I like it. All right, we are into semifinals, Dan.
Yeah. Hey, Zach, did you see on my last stream that Sleazy showed up at the end of it? The real Sleazy P. Martini? He was, like, telling us we're a bunch of tools. But then he started warming up to us.
That's how all her relationships are.
Yeah, everybody thinks that we're tools at first.
Most people think we're tools at first.
I don't know why he was
all
watching
right,
my show.
Semifinals. we've got Lou Guru from Wolfcop versus Joni from Curse. Let me get that vote in the chat. Lou Guru versus Joni from Cursed. Who do you think's gonna win?
This one's a lot harder than stuff because yes, I want to kind of say initially Lou because she is killed by cops, but she's killed by cops, not a cop. I know he's more than a cop because he's a werewolf cop.
He's a wolf cop.
He is.
Cop.
So
Cop.
he kind of counts as cops, though unlike his other opponents, she's fully aware of what she's doing, like him. She's, I think, a little bigger and stronger than him. She can jump higher than him, that's for damn sure. So that's kind of hard, actually. This one, I don't see her use a gun in the movie, but there's actually kind of really no reason why she couldn't.
I guess she could. She does have bigger hands.
Maybe it'd be harder, but I mean, without the thing there, she could probably shoot a shotgun.
But that also,
I don't know.
The ability to use a gun and knowing how to use one are two different things. I mean, theoretically, I can use a gun, but I've never done it before.
Her being a bit of a serial
We
killer.
don't know that she
kind-
knows how to use a gun.
I know, but it's hard for me to think a serial killer doesn't know how to use a weapon of some sort. I know she relies on being a werewolf as her weapon. I'm not 100% sure. I'm leaning towards Lou still because of his abilities, like as a cop and as a wolf. But it's a lot harder than usual. She is quicker than the last one she's fought, more dodgier, definitely more
Dodgier.
Yeah, she's cheekier too. Like she knows when there's
You're getting so British. Being married to me for 10 years is really rubbing off on you.
where he took on a dog soldier and he took on David, and they're mean and more bestial. If you point a gun at them, they might feel somewhat threatened because you're pointing something at them, but they don't have the full knowledge of what a gun will do to you. Like a dog, you point a stick at it and point a gun at it, the dog's not going to know the difference. It's not going to like either one of those. It's going to know that you're threatening it somehow. But she knows exactly what a gun is as a werewolf, and she would know to avoid that.
That's true. She can jump really far and really high. So it's going to be a lot harder to shoot her.
She could also try to seduce him, which he is pretty easily seduced. Like,
Yeah, but he still killed the people who seduced him.
I know, but I'm just saying she could. Like,
He's gone against multiple supernatural foes.
I know.
She has not.
I'm just saying this is.
She has gone against regular fucking people.
Exactly. He definitely has experience when it comes to that type of thing, but he lets his wolf dong kind of control some of his decisions. Like, he wasn't dating the cat girl when he first hooked up with her. In fact, him and his chief have kind of this thing, and she was like, I thought she was going to help heal you. He's like, well,
Something to
she
keep in
did.
mind. Here's something to keep in mind. Joni is killing because she wants to be with the werewolf that made her. She's not going to seduce him. She's obsessed with the guy who made her.
All right. Well,
We have no experience of her straying. She kills people who she sees as competition.
But the only guy that she's into is also a werewolf, so maybe she would like Lou.
That's a very big maybe.
And also, like I said, she's kind of evil, so maybe seducing is just a weapon. She didn't have to try and seduce other people. She could just... They were humans, most, like, pretty young, in their early 20s humans that she could rip apart with her bare hands. Lou's a little different. I think she is a little stronger and more agile than him. She jumps, like,
I think
3
she can
stories high.
do a lot more things agility-wise, but I feel like he has more procedural abilities, like police abilities, like shooting. He can use a grenade. He can hit her with a car. She's never gone against anybody like him before. He has gone against other supernatural beings, like a cult of witches or these weird alien people.
Yeah, but the werewolves in his universe don't get as big and jump as high, is all I'm saying. Zach Bird says, Lou versus Grony on Judy Bagwell in a pole match. Well, she'd definitely win that, because she'd just jump up that pole.
It's close. Who do you think is going to win? They both know who they are. They both have attitude.
I'm giving the very slight edge to Lou on this. I think it's a lot harder.
Close. I'm voting for Lou.
I think, once again, though, it's mostly that he has access to a lot of police weapons.
That's the thing. And not only does he have access to them, he knows how to use them. Theoretically, I could use a gun, but I've never shot a gun. I don't know how good I would be with a gun. Lou Guru has used a gun multiple times. A gun is ultimately what killed her. I think Blue Guru is going to win. It's going to be very close, though. Who are you voting for?
I'm voting Lowe.
Did you vote, yeah?
Not yet.
Did you vote now?
No. What's the chat have to say?
Okay, I'm going to check in with the chat. Zachary Bird says, yeah, fucking A. Lou versus Joni, GD Bagwell on a pole match. Joni versus Lou, Pinata on a pole match. And hey, Blood and Bruce, nice to see you here.
Who's the chat voting for?
So far, a slight edge to Lou. It's 55% Lou and 45% Joni. Mommy, who are you voting for? I don't think she's seen either of these movies.
I voted Lowe. But I think it's even.
Oh, great. Now it's tied.
I think I just tied
Crap.
it. I think I just tied it.
Okay,
well,
Lou
Lou
just got ahead. I'm going to call it.
You should wait a second to see if other votes come in.
I'm calling it because otherwise we end up sitting
like
here all night.
When the popcorn's popping, you gotta wait till there be a gap before you take it out of the microwave.
Okay, well,
When
keep
it's
that in mind when you do this on your
don't take
show.
it out.
All right, Luke is going to the finals. Good for him. Good for him.
I think mostly just because he kills criminals. She's a criminal. I'm gonna give it to him. Not by much. I think she's a lot harder than the last two he's fought. Because he can't just stay back and shoot her. She'll just jump away and find a different way to fight him, maybe. But I'm still giving him the slight edge.
All right. Last one before the finals. Will Randall from Wolf dun, 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 versus Larry Talbot, the Wolfman. Wait, that's the wrong one.
Drinking the great pumpkin ale.
Who do you think's going to win?
I'm going to go with Lawrence.
Yeah, me too. But you tell your reasonings why when I put the vote in the chat.
I think Will is great and has a lot of abilities, but he's kind of gone up against some dinguses so far, to put it shortly. Like I said, I think Reverend Lowe was the winner of the worst of the worst.
You were so mean!
And Ted wasn't much better. They are very newbie-type werewolves, where they lose to kids in wheelchairs or dogs. I don't think Lawrence would lose to either of those. I think he's just got this. I think Will's a great man. I think he's a better man than Lawrence. And I think they're both in necessarily good people, I think Will's a better person. But that doesn't mean he's more powerful, and it doesn't mean he could win this fight. I think I got to go with Lawrence. I think Will's had a great run. I'm glad that he went as far as he did, because that was cool and surprising. I think he's from a movie that I don't think gets talked about enough anymore. I don't necessarily think Wolf's underrated. I just don't think people remember it as much.
I agree. I do think Will Randall is a really fierce competitor. I think it's awesome that he's made it this far. But at the end of the day, he is kind of a werewolf in this intermediate period between being a human and being a wolf. Ultimately, he becomes a regular wolf. Whereas Lawrence Talbot is so much more than that. He's this supernatural being. Yeah. And I think he could kill him.
I also think that we kind of have to go by their peaks. And maybe Will's peak is in his in-between. And possibly him in that in-between versus Lawrence when Lawrence first turns into a Wolfman and really doesn't know what's going on. Will would probably win that type of fight. But we have to go by both their peaks. In Lawrence's peak, he's a lot bigger and stronger, and he is a little more knowledgeable of what he is at that point, and has his capabilities have increased. So, by his peak, I think he outpeaks Will.
I agree. I mean, Lawrence can also, because he's bipedal and a lot more agile, especially in the remake, he jumps from roof to roof. Yeah. He is very stealthy.
Rip a door off a house easily.
He can burst through a door. He can rip somebody apart. I think he would take Will Randall and he could break him over his knee.
Yeah. Like I said, I think there are scenarios in how it could be written to where Will would win, but that would be plot armor. And I can't go by plot armor. I have to go by the peak of their abilities. And I think Lawrence at his very peak is more powerful than Will at his very peak.
Pardon me. All right, Mummy voted for Joni. Mummy, who are you voting for this round? This is my actual Mummy, guys, who is a Mummy, coincidentally, in the chat. Yes. Mummy, who are you voting for, Lawrence Talbot or Will Randall? Blood and Brews. Lou says Lugaroo. And love your shirt. This is from American Werewolf in London, guys.
Yeah.
Blood and Brews is an awesome channel, by the way. Check them out.
If it was just movies, I would have voted that the whole way
Oh,
through.
yeah. I think it's the best werewolf movie.
Well, that's not what we're voting.
Have you voted?
Yeah, I voted.
Have I voted?
I gave it to Lawrence.
5.
I like Will. I think he's great.
4. Here, count it out for me.
3, 2, 1.
We are calling it, and Lawrence Talbot is the winner. He is moving to the finals.
The OG.
Wow, I didn't see this final match coming, but who do we have?
We got
This
Lou,
is weird, right?
Lou Wolfcop versus Lawrence, the OG Wolfman. And they
We
are
have
both Wolfmen.
Lugaroo versus Lawrence Talbot, the Wolfman. This is crazy. This is crazy. Mummy likes Will's Peak. And I think that's a very, I think either one of them are great.
I don't blame her. He is the
So we
sexual
have-
beast at his peak.
Lugaroo versus Lawrence Talbot. Mummy, who are you voting for in this one? The Wolf Cop versus the Wolfman.
Well, see, Lou is in a slight disadvantage here because his type of werewolf doesn't need to be killed by silver bullets.
That's true.
So his gun.
Wolfman was beaten by his elderly father with a silver-headed cane.
Yeah, but he's gotten past that point where that wouldn't work nowadays.
True.
And it would require probably a silver bullet to kill him. I don't think Lou would use a silver bullet because in his universe, werewolves aren't killed that way. He might eventually catch on to that, but I don't know if that would be enough time for him to do so.
But Lawrence doesn't have as much wherewithal as a wolf.
Not as much, that's for sure. He's got more brute strength if we're going by like the remake and stuff. And he has some wherewithal by the end
And
of that
Lawrence
movie,
can't
but
use a gun.
He can't, but he could.
But he can survive being shot in the head. He'd have to use a silver bullet.
Exactly. So this is hard.
So basically, would Lugaroo know to use a silver bullet?
I don't think he would initially. And I don't know if he'd survive an initial battle.
However, Lugaroo could also decapitate him. He can also throw him off a cliff
Easier
and
said
drown him.
than done.
Yeah.
But he's not big enough and strong enough to necessarily do these things.
I don't know. Who are you thinking, hon?
Kind of going towards the OG, but I don't want to vote just yet.
Let's see if the chat... Chat, help us out here. Who do you think is going to win? Lawrence Talbot, the original Wolfman, also in the remake with Benicio del Toro, or do you think it's going to be Lugaroo, the Wolf Cop?
And tell us why.
And tell us why. Mummy's voting the Wolfman. Mummy, why are you voting the Wolfman? Let us know, because we're on the fence here.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
This is our last fight, isn't it?
Yep, this is the main event. I'm impressed with.
Good.
I'm impressed by both of these competitors.
This has been a fun match. So let's look at where they've come from. So Lugaroo, he fought the Ryan, the corporal, captain, whatever, from Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
He beat David from American Wolf in London.
And Joni, but none of them required silver.
That's true.
That is where this changes up a bit. Lawrence actually needs, I think, silver to make it work.
Lawrence beat Velkin from Van Helsing. Scott, the Teen Wolf, Will Randall from Wolf, and here they are. I think this is a very, very close match. One of our closest of the night.
I think he kind of scooted by his first
Mummy
two
says
fights.
the Wolf Cop is a baby. You gotta give me better than that. Why is he gonna beat him? Wolf Cop is not a baby. You need to watch that movie. Being in control of your instincts and gun give advantage to the Wolf Cop. I think that's a very good point. Blood and Bruise. Why are you picking Lawrence Talbot? Blood and Bruise says, was fierce the way the werewolves moved in the Wolfman was insanely fast. They are very, very fast. They are faster than the Wolf Cop.
Bigger and stronger too. That's where I think he might have it. And normally I would say if regular bullets would take him down, I would still give it to Lou, despite that, because I think that's how it was with Joni. I think Joni was faster and bigger and able to jump higher and a little stronger. But regular bullets took her down. Lawrence, I think you need silver. I mean,
Zachary Bird says Lawrence because he doesn't doubt the power of El Dandy.
who are you to doubt the power of El Dandy?
I don't get this reference.
It is an old Bret Hart reference.
And Mummy B Movie says, I like my wolf with more man. Very good point there. This is tough. I think Blood and Bruise made a very good point about Lawrence Talbot being faster.
Yeah, and like I said, just...
And I'm going to vote for him.
That's who I voted for. But, it was hard because hypothetically, maybe Lou would have a weapon like a grenade launcher that could possibly at least KO Lawrence. But most of his weapons aren't going to work. I don't think the handgun or the rifle and probably not even the shotgun are going to take him down unless there was silver. Now, maybe the more explosive stuff like grenades, that could possibly KO him and get the win. But I just think he's really fast, he's really strong, and Lou's not going to know that he needs silver. So I'm just giving it to Lou.
Lou isn't the smartest.
He's not.
All right, Blood and Bruise says, the Wolfman werewolves ripping people apart and jumping across buildings.
Exactly.
Very true. All right, I'm calling again. Danny, give us a countdown.
3, 2, ow!
And your winner of the werewolf card is...
The OG himself.
The Wolfman! Ow! Yeah! Ow! Down, 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 down. All right, guys, that was insanely fun. Yeah, I wasn't sure who was going to win this one, but I think you guys picked a great winner. He is going down to the Ultimate Showdown, which will be the winner of every card we've done. The vampires, the monsters, the creatures, the witches, everybody will be fighting. The best from all of them will be fighting in the Ultimate Showdown. Next week, we have witches.
I think, like Dracula, the Wolfman does have that advantage where he has so many versions of him, you know? There are lots of Lawrence Talbots out there. And if you're going by their peak abilities, it makes them kind of OP. Like, when you're going by that.
And guys, I'm telling you right now, I'm eliminating some of the people who were put in the witches one just because they're not her. I don't care. So we've got the Charmed ones, the Sanderson sisters, Willow from Buffy, Rowena from Supernatural, Samantha from Bewitched, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. We are not doing Twilight Sparkle, and we are not doing Maleficent. I don't care.
Didn't Maleficent show up in a cool magazine that you bought recently?
I don't care. We're doing Mother of Sighs from Suspiria, the Grand High Witch from The Witches, the Scarlet Witch, the Blair Witch, Nancy from the Craft, oddly Gory movie, the Love Witch, and Elvira. So, should I do a vote to let them pick the two witches who are coming in?
This is all you. I want nothing to do with it.
So, you get to choose Twilight Werewolves. They were nominated, but nobody picked them. Pick your witches. So, I'm not going to give you guys Twilight Sparkle because it's a freaking pony and it's not horror. And I don't care. I don't care. And I'm not giving you a Disney witch. Here's what you can pitch. You can pick the Supreme from American Horror Story Covenant.
I don't know if anything's scarier than Disney, though. I mean, that's horror to me.
You can pick the Coven from Witches of Eastwick. Guys, give me some more choices that are good. You can pick the very badass Hellbender witches from the new movie this year. They are like vampires, alpha predators combined.
Pinkie Pie.
And you get two. The top two go. We need one more.
Rainbow Dash.
Shut your face. You know what else I'm going to put down? What was her name?
Raven from Teen Titans.
You shut your fucking face.
What?
You're making me angry. You have no witch respect.
Raven's a witch.
Considering that you married a witch, like your witch knowledge is just lame.
No, I have great witch knowledge.
You know, a witch. Hold on a second.
What about those three witches that share an eyeball?
You be quiet. No. Okay, and then finally Angelique from Dark Shadows, who very prominent character from that series. So your top two will be in the thingy. Oh, the Coven from Hereditary. That's a good one too. Oh, well, I've already done it. Hellbender. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some more information here. So American Horror Story, the Supreme is like the uber badass witch. It's Cordelia, I think, in the series of Coven. She's really badass. The Coven from Witches of Eastwick. Oh, I've put East Witches, but it's Eastwick, which is the one with Jack Nicholson. It's got Susan Sarandon, Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer. The Hellbender is one not a lot of people have seen, but this one is really cool. They're very unique witches. Mm-hmm. They're kind of witches, kind of vampires, kind of alpha predators. They can fly. They can just eviscerate people. They're super badass. By the way, this movie is available to watch for free on Shudder. And Angelique from Dark Shadows. She is the one who cursed Barnabas Collins. I mean, if anybody could go against Barnabas Collins, it's Angelique. She's pretty badass. So who are you voting for?
I had a write-in vote.
Huh?
I did a write-in vote.
What's your write-in vote? What's your write-in?
I already wrote it in.
Dick, no Twilight Sparkle. You suck. Twilight Sparkle is a fucking baby pony.
It's funny.
You suck. You suck. We have 3 votes, and there's 16 people watching. All right, for sure, we're taking the Supreme from American Horror Story. All right, I'm going to do a new one for your second person. I'm just going to take the Supreme, okay?
Why don't you just see who gets the second amount of votes?
Because nobody's voting.
Because nobody wants you to do this. All right, there you go. There's your second.
I'm not giving you a baby-ass pony.
Baby-ass pony? She's a full-grown woman pony by the end of that
She's
show.
not a woman pony.
No, she's actually tall in the last episode.
Little purple baby pony.
By the end of the episode, like last episode, she's tall. She's like the other ones. The taller ones. I don't remember their fucking names.
All right, so we've got 5 votes. We've got the Supreme and the Hellbender, which Hellbender is badass. We got 6 votes. Should I wait for more?
That's as many I think you're going to get.
7 votes.
There you go.
Mommy, vote.
Write-in votes count.
And you can write in a vote in the comments, in the chat.
Old
the
woman vampire.
From Witches of Eastwick.
Old woman witch. Hashtag old woman witch.
Me?
You're not old.
I'm kind of old. I'm in my 40s.
Especially compared to the women on here. The other witches.
Blood and Bruise. Hellbender is so awesome. It's really good. So
what about,
Mummy voted.
What about like Ron Weasley?
That is not horror. No fucking Harry Potters.
Or Hyman or whatever her name is.
Shut up. Harry can be spousal abuse you.
I know, right? You're just like beating. Everybody saw that, right? Ow! I might have to sue. The dog growled at me. Ow!
No. I agree. She shouldn't be on the list. But as a hardcore brony, I'm still duty bound to say that Twilight Sparkle is not a baby.
Thank you, Torchbearer. Thank you.
Thank you for walking that line.
She's like as big as.
Come on, guys! If you want a pony debate, then make someone else. Then make one somewhere else. Let's all remember that Gory is a witch, and we should not make witches into a laughing matter. Thank you very much. The whole purpose of this is to celebrate horror movies and characters from horror movies. And I think when we pick something like Twilight Sparkle, we're basically saying that there's not enough awesome witches in horror movies, and that's not fair. There are so many incredible witches in horror movies.
This is the only time when we were picking the rosters that we picked 3 rosters in one time, and it was our 3rd roster, and we were pretty drunk. We shouldn't have done that. I still think it's hilarious.
We have 10 votes.
And I'm going to tease you for it.
Okay, for sure you guys are getting the Supreme. Should I put in the other 3 for the second one?
I would just go with the second highest. But
what if somebody voted for the Supreme and they're definitely getting her, so they get a vote?
All right, then yeah, let's do the other one.
All right, so you guys are for sure getting the Supreme. Pick. Why can't I type?
Here, I'll type for you.
Shut up, Dan.
What? I will do it
Shut up, you brony motherfucker. Hellbender.
I was gonna put Maleficent, but okay.
Witches of Eastwick.
I think Maleficent should go in there. Pretty fucking scary for some people.
What were the other ones I had?
She's like a demon, isn't it? I'm a witch.
Angelique is a good one. Angelique from Dark Shadows.
You already have.
And who's another great witch? Oh, I really wanted Warlock from Warlock.
Warlocks are witches now. I thought they were liars.
From the movie Warlock, Dan. Don't be such a purist.
Well, I don't want to like make it a joke.
You're being
hit me again.
You are being witchist. You are being witchist.
No, I'm teasing my wife, who I love.
Who's a witch?
Yeah, but I'm not teasing you
He's
because you're witch. I'm
witchist.
teasing you because you're my wife.
A burrito supreme.
Obviously,
Cutlass
I
supreme.
love witches. I wouldn't
Chicken
have married
supreme.
one otherwise. My wicked hot.
The way
gorgeous
Gory
wife.
is talking trash, I must assume she's not a Pegasus. I actually have a whole collection of ponies. I've
And
seen
Twilight
all the
Sparkle
shows.
is your favorite one, right?
And Twilight Sparkle is actually my favorite pony.
She's a witch.
However,
But she's not horror. I get it. She's not
I
horror.
don't think it's at all horror.
All right. It's horrifying for some people.
Blood and Bruise voted for American Horror Story. So you guys need to vote for your second one. So you're definitely getting Cordelia the Supreme from American Horror Story. So I need to know who is the second one I'm going to put in place of Maleficent and the pony, who's not a baby, but she's not horror.
Dark Willow's already on the roster, right?
She already is.
Dark Willow
So I'll tell you who's already on the roster. We have the Charmed Ones, the Sanderson sisters, Willow from Buffy, Rowena from Supernatural, Samantha from Bewitched, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the Mother of Sighs from Suspiria, the Grand High Witch, Scarlet Witch, because I think it counts because I'm Mouth of Madness, the Blair Witch, Nancy from The Craft, this witch, the Love Witch, and Elvira. And we have 8 votes. Let's get to 10, because so far everyone's gotten a vote, which is kind of cool. It looks like Angelique and Warlock are tied at 38%. I think Warlock would be awesome. I love that movie. Oh, wait, I didn't vote. I'm going to vote for Warlock. All right. Pinkie Pie could have been with the slashers if you can't fanfic like cupcakes. Truth, right? And here's the other thing, too. The part of the reason I do this show is I love, like, Death Battle. But Death Battle does a lot of anime characters, a lot of comic book characters. They've done a lot of ponies. They don't do a lot of horror characters. And this show is about celebrating horror and horror characters. Characters that get overlooked.
Yeah.
And even if you guys haven't seen all the movies, like, that's kind of the point. So you can be like, wow, that character sounds super badass. I want to see that movie. And maybe you'll find your next favorite horror movie. Who are you voting for? Are you writing in again?
Mm-hmm.
What now? Queen, who's that?
She's the villain in Willow. And she turns them all into pigs.
Not horror.
She's a witch.
Not
horror.
horror.
Scary ass movie with giant kaiju trolls in there.
Not horror.
Yeah, it was horror for me. There's also like beasts.
That's like me saying
There's
that
trolls.
we should just pick anybody who kills people in a movie, even if it's not horror, instead of a slasher.
Are they slashers though? Because there's slashers in comedies. I think we picked a couple of them.
You're upsetting me. Have you voted?
Oh, fine. I'll revote. There. Here's my real vote.
Who's your vote? Who'd you vote for?
I voted for the Hellbenders.
Hellbender is so badass.
I just think I like it because they're unique. They have different.
They're
lore.
really cool badass, which is such a unique idea. And it's made by
the Addams family.
Mother, father, and a daughter, the Addams, literal Addams family. Mm-hmm. And you can watch it on Shudder. It's such a great movie. It's kind of a coming of age, but essentially this mother, they're these very dangerous witches. And she knows that her daughter is one too. And so she raises her in seclusion. She doesn't tell her about her abilities, but eventually her daughter finds out. And it's kind of a coming of age story too, but it's also very horrific.
Courtney Love is a witch. I think she is.
All right. So
Steven X is.
Sigma, my brother, says Warlock. We need a dude. Fair enough. All right, give me a countdown, and I'm gonna call it.
Let's get a dong in there.
Count it down.
3, 2.
We'll count down from 5. Whatever. All right, we're gonna have the Supreme for American Horror Story and Warlock. Let's get some dongage up in there. Yeah, actually, is that the only dude in there?
It's a clam fest.
Well, that's good because our werewolf one was the sausage fest for sure. All right.
One of them made it really far, Joni.
Yeah. We did it, guys. We did it. So next week is Witches. Wait, is it next week? Let me double check. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you. I just don't like to do that. It makes me feel bad in my tum-tum. Okay, so the next one is October 9th. Oh, it's not next week because next week is when Danny and I are going to be in a movie. We are going to be zombies in a movie, an actual movie. It's my first IMDb credit, so I'm pretty excited.
Directed by the amazing Tanya Atomic.
Tanya Atomic, who did Manos Returns. I'm really excited to be a part of this. I think it's going to be super fun. I am not an actress, so hopefully I do a decent job and I don't ruin her movie.
I just have to be a zombie.
I'm going to be a nun.
I'll do better than that, I promise. If you're watching, Tanya. I'll do better than
We're going to do our best. I'm super excited. So there will not be a show next week. My next stream will be Friday, September 30th. I'm really excited. This coming Friday, we've got Halloween 6. I'm kind of going backwards here for my 13 weeks of Halloween. Halloween 6 is one that I think is horribly underrated. It's a really good movie, The Curse of Michael Myers. It's the first one I rented on my own. So I always think of it as my Halloween movie, the one I found myself. But my friends Drum Dums and Haunted by Horror and the Movie Massacre Show, who will be here visiting us, are going to talk about it with me. It's going to be a great show. And then the one after that, we'll be doing Halloween 5, which is another one that a lot of people don't like, but I've got some guests on here who are going to tell you why they love it. And our next fight night will be the last one before the ultimate showdown, guys. It's going to be Witches. So if you want to see that Witches showdown, it's going to be Sunday, October 9th. And then after that, be sure to check in because we're probably going to do a vote on like what our streams are going to be after that. I'm probably going to go back to some discussions unless you guys want your season 2 of Fight Night right away. But probably do some discussions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking? You're going to do whatever I tell you to do, right?
It's your show.
Oh, wait. Yeah. The Covenant, guys. That's a good point. Should we do another one?
No. They already got voted out a long time ago.
I would vote for them as I am from Ipswich. Kind of think there should be 2 dudes.
The
Covenant guys can take over me.
I get why you took out the pony and stuff, but we already got horror stuff
now. The Covenant guys can replace me.
No, you got to be in there because me and LOLZ had to do it.
I don't want to be in there.
Too bad. Me and LOLZ had to do it.
I don't have any special powers.
Yeah, you do. You can go like that and change people's shirts.
I can change shirts.
You've killed plenty of people. You have a higher body count on my show than I do.
You don't have much of a body count.
Mm-hmm.
I am from Ipswich.
Yeah, there you go. Vote for her.
So we've got, we've got the Supreme from Twilight, or from American Horror Story, and we've got Warlock. Those are really good ones. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, I'm gonna leave it be. But yeah, I thought Covenant was good, and I am from Ipswich, Mummy. Gory was voted in by a landslide. Thank you, Kevin. You guys are way too kind. Way too kind, but I'm going against some pretty awesome witches. Alrighty, so you guys know when the next shows are, and I apologize in advance. The credits I'm going to roll for you right now are from our vampire episodes, so they're a little outdated. But, you know, same basical thing. Basical? Basical's not a word.
It's going to say vampires, and, you know, it'll say Becky, and Becky's awesome, even if she ain't here.
She is part of the show, even when she's not here. Her essence is here.
She is a cast member of
Yes.
Fight Night, so she should be credited regardless.
Hey, yeah, Zigma is from Ipswich. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
And Mummy V Movie is from Ipswich, England.
Yes.
Alrighty, anything you want to say? Anything that's going on in Horror Addicts you want them to know about?
That was a howling good time. I have some unboxings coming out. I am working on a movie next month, so I will try to get some good content up. I am a little lacking. Also, I have a video that'll be about our Halloween Horror Nights. I got a lot of footage of those cool houses, so
Yes.
and just our experience in general. That will be coming up soon. Just stay tuned. You'll see me and Gory also doing some more live reviews of horror.
Yeah, I
And
got lots of streams coming up. I'm working on a special All the Gory Details for Halloween, so stay tuned for that. Lots more Halloween live streams and lots more Sunday live streams. So check it out. And
one more thing. We are both in the Faces of Horror.
that's true.
So vote for either one of us. That would be much appreciated.
Before we go, I will post our links, and I think that's good to call it a night. I
Yeah.
am currently 5th in my group. You have like your own individual groups.
Yeah, we're not
Right
the same
now,
group.
we're competing to be in the top 10. So here is my link.
Boom.
And here is Danny's link. Danny's actually doing really well. Danny is 3rd.
That
So
was-
super
yeah,
proud
third.
of Danny.
In my group. It's a different group, so
Different group.
if you could vote for either one of us, we'd highly appreciate it.
You get a free vote a day, and you don't need to pay for them, but if you choose to, it does support the biggest financial group that supplies financial assistance to families dealing with pediatric cancer. So it's a really good cause. And if we win, we get $13K, which we can use to make a movie.
we get a magazine shoot with Kane Hodder and Rube Morgue magazine.
We get to have a 2-night stay at Buffalo Bill's house.
and a
which we-
walk-on in an indie horror movie
Yeah, it's super awesome.
that I think Rube Morgue is sponsoring. So I don't know necessarily what the movie is, but I think Rube Morgue is kind of behind it. So
All right, thank you, all the weirdos in the chat. You guys make this show super fun. To Zachary Bird, to Kevin from Haunted by Horror, to Blood and Bruised, great channel, by the way, check them out. Torchbearer Ion, Zigma, Mummy B Movie, just the queen of the gory hole right there. Now It's Dark. Ariel was here earlier. Lots of awesome people. Thank you guys so much. And until we meet again, blessed be.